Disclaimer, we'd like to note before the start of this interview that the opinions about to be expressed by the guest on tonight's Gettin Salty Experience podcast are that of the guest and do not directly or necessarily reflect the views of the host of the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
You're listening to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Hello, Big Johnny Albanese. I get Big Johnny Albanese hello tonight, bro. Look who's back. Wait, what am I talking to you? Look who's. Oh, the both of you. Look who's back. Maybe I should talk to myself. Hey, Coobs, look who's back. Oh, shit, those guys are back.
Okay,
We're
what
both
do you mean?
on hiatus, you know?
Hiatus is
Hey,
nice.
you know, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, you were out. He was picking his wife up, running around like a chauffeur. I know that. So he had to miss a couple of
Oh, we're not
shows.
doing that, Cons. No
Luck
bueno.
was out there doing man stuff, you know, -5 degrees, shooting poor ducks. Defenseless.
Oh, I
you
saved
got
them.
to. You
I
saw him?
Yeah, I saw the pictures. I was going to save them for tonight, but somebody probably removed them on me. Anyway, I'm going to re-show them.
I asked him if you brought them home. How did you bring those home? Like in your suitcase? How do you bring
Yeah,
those
you
things
freeze
home?
them up like little
Right.
footballs, actually.
You wore them like a
freeze them
fucking
up,
necklace.
At -5, all we had to do is leave them outside. Right?
You know those
I
animal
did actually
necklaces
just
with
leave
the
them
teeth,
outside.
the
Yeah,
teeth
you know
and
what? I
everything?
asked him if he's going to eat them and pluck them. He said no, he's going to
Well,
stuff
a couple
them.
I'm getting, bring it to the taxidermy. They were pretty birds.
So you walk into Lou's the den over there and you see hanging on the walls, bro. Right?
It is true.
Full spread.
It's a lot of death.
How many deer had you got in that room?
Oh,
Right
man.
here. 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Wow.
He's got one. He's got one under the deck that he pets while he's
Yeah.
sitting there.
Yeehaw, stick it in your grandma.
Yeah. I think those curtains came off a deer. Or something.
Yeah, you're not
That's-
kidding.
You got to change those out soon now. I mean,
Yeah, I got to talk to the wife. But
Yeah.
it's kind of like, now it's
It's
kind of
your
like
thing.
part of me now, right?
yeah, it's the Oval Office in there. I don't know if
Yeah.
have we ever showed the audience the rest of your dead stuff in the
No,
in
I
the
should
room,
do
bro?
that one time.
Yeah, I should just turn that shit around and show them.
We just got a little privy one day.
A look into Ruffy's life, 20 something, 40 something years of hunting, probably,
So
right?
I know there's a lot of hunting. So I got to plug my boy down there. It was Mr. Bill Rush. Started 1920. That's how long they have the property over there. Rush's
1920.
Duck Club, dude. It was. Now I went down with my friend Bill White. I want to give a shout out to the Horn Lake Fire Department. We stopped over there. The guys were great. Bullshitted around a little bit over there, but
Did they know you? They know about the show?
a couple guys knew us.
You
Yeah.
walked in, you're like, oh, it's Louis.
No.
It's Ruffy.
No, it
You
wasn't.
weren't. You mean you weren't at the urinal and the guy looked over at you?
That was Yankee Stadium.
No. But that was one of the best duck hunts I had in my life, and I've been hunting for a while.
What's his name? Rush? What's his first name?
Bill Rush.
Billy
Rush's Duck
Rush.
Club. He's on Facebook. If you look up Bill Rush, he has all sorts of trips out there. If you guys want, if anybody's really into duck hunting, I would definitely go to Arkansas. That's the place to be, man. No, I mean I hit the weather perfect, but my boy Bill White, that's my guy.
How many did he get?
Huh?
How many did he get?
We shot in 2 days, 24.
You got 24 duck and you only brought home 2?
Well, we didn't, dude. It was 5 degrees out. Like he's going to breast them out, and then he'll send me the meat. Yeah.
Oh,
But I got
all right.
2. I brought
You got to
2.
freaking
Right.
camera.
In the overnight bag.
Yeah. See.
He
Little
had
football.
some fun out there. He sent some video of somebody doing donuts in a boat.
Yeah. So the boat has to go around to keep the water hole open because it was freezing over so fast, so that the ducks have somewhere to land. It's crazy. It was
I
like,
didn't even see that video. How did I not see that video?
I'll send it to you.
Was it?
It was-
It wasn't on.
How was the food? Did you drink and partake?
Oh yeah, we were drinking.
stuff.
We were
Oh,
drinking.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Quote,
Well,
look, quote unquote, we might drink in the blind, a little hottie toddy or something. But,
Oh, really? Keep the upper cockles warm. While
you
you're
know, it's
out
a long.
there.
It's a long. When you're out there, it's a long day, man. Getting beat up with the cold.
Yeah.
So when you come back, you eat something quick, have a couple drinks, and then
You go back out again? Oh, you go
then you
sleep.
get up at 5 a.m. Yeah.
Oh man,
All I
don't know
kept
what
thinking
like
was,
better. Sitting in a tree
All I kept
stand.
thinking about was shoe cubes.
Yeah, I don't know what I like better: sitting in a tree stand with snot freezing on my face, or sitting by the water waiting for a couple of ducks to fly up to shoot him. I can't make up my mind. It's
Finally said, I was showing him the picture. I guess it was like the ice floating on the water. He's like, yeah, something like that. I'd rather have my balls in a vice or something like that. It sounds like more fun.
Yeah, I'd rather slam my balls in the door than.
Hey, listen, everybody's got their thing. You like to work out. Everybody's got their thing.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. All right.
You like to put 600 pounds on your back and,
Yeah, not no more. Maybe when I was younger, but not no more.
600.
Gonzo likes the jealous hair, so everybody's got their thing,
Likes the jealous.
It's a little fucked up right now, but whatever.
Whatever.
It looks good. We got to get you a new shirt. You keep wearing the same shirt over and over, so I'll send you some shirts.
It just stands out. It's loud, but yeah.
Right.
If you want to send them to me, send me some.
All right. All right. Let's do some commercials here before we get going. You have any more plugs?
Who has a pretty mouth? Dick.
Lou. You dick.
Yeah, all cans off. So.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Established in 1930 and under the current ownership since 1987, the New Jersey Fire Equipment Company handles a complete line of fire department equipment and supplies. Headquartered in Greenbrook, the company operates full 3M Scott service facilities in Ridgefield Park and Toms River, staffed by 10 fully authorized Scott certified technicians with a fleet of 6 fully equipped service vans. All New Jersey fire technicians and sales representatives are active or retired firefighters, officers or chief officers, career and volunteer. They understand the business and the importance of their work. New Jersey Fire has represented Scott since Earl Scott entered the SCBA business at the end of World War II. Among other leading manufacturers represented by New Jersey Fire are Globe and Firedex Turnout Gear, Mercedes Hose, Task Force Tips and Akron Brass, Hygenol, Firehooks, Arctic Compressors, MSA Carnes Helmets, ChemGuard Foam, Alkalite and Duo Safety Ladders, BA Face Shield Protectors, Truckman's Choice Saws, Grove's Gear Racks and Washer Dryers, Supervac Fans, RPI, Streamlight, and many others. A New Jersey incorporated and based company, sales and service are limited to the state of New Jersey. Find us now at www.njfe.com. That's www.njfe.com.
And I got one more shout out. So Roofy and I on the February, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, or 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. We will be at the Long Island Expo, booth number 142. Come out and see us at the Nassau Coliseum. Have a little fun. Maybe have a couple little drinks, hang out with the boys, buy some swag.
There's usually a couple of heavy hitters hanging out at the place over there.
If you do have the book, They Save New York, bring it with you because there's some heavy hitters hanging out there. If you want to get it signed, bring it with you. We'll also be in Indy with Glenn Usden, the writer of the book, the photographer of the book. He's going to bring a whole bunch of books, so he'll be signing it from there. If you buy them there, no doubt you'll be able to fill that book up with signatures because everybody is there. So, and that's all I got on that. Let's bring him in, Roof. This guy from the Tonka.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Tonka. My father owned the store on Knickerbocker Avenue. He owned a camera shop. We used to go up Himrod, passing Tonka trunk all the time, man. Be saying hello to the guys.
He's got good hair too, this guy, right?
He does. He's got a real good head of hair, man.
All these old time.
And a new knee. How do you like that, bro? New knee and good hair. What else could be?
What else could you have? We sent the eunuch over there to help him out too. All right, coming to the stage, Van Johnson, 124 Tonka truck. Look at that hat, son.
Look at that. Nope. Doesn't have much gray in there either, bro. What is that all about?
That much gray. Let's see this picture. Oh,
no, that's the other Van Johnson.
Man, I have to meet that man, too.
You got to meet
the other guy.
The actor Van Johnson.
Yeah, the actor. Just want to see
we have a whole
hair was the same.
But you weren't named after him, though.
What? No, not at all.
Because you're Van Dorn. He's Van Charles?
Yeah, but we come from the same neighborhood in Newport, Rhode Island, believe it or not.
We'll get into that. But first, we got to get patriotic before we do that. Because I know Van's a very patriotic fella. All right, go ahead, Let's do it.
Here we go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There he is. All right, Van.
How are you guys?
We're doing well. Welcome to the show. As you know, this is the only show that brings the Firehouse kitchen table to everybody.
There you go.
So feel free to, break my balls, Louis' balls. Gonzo's an easy target, so break his balls.
I'm not a ball breaker.
You what? How can you be in line on 124 and not be a ball
At least
breaker?
I have balls.
Oh, really?
He lying.
Oh.
All right, Van, you said you were born in Rhode Island. So let's go back to the early days. Tell us a little early family life, your dad, your mom, any siblings, etc. How you got interested in the fire service?
Oh, here's the deal.
Okay.
Born in Newport, Rhode Island in the Navy hospital. So was my brother. My father was in the Navy. That's how we ended up in Rhode Island. After the war, my father made a career in the Navy at the time. And my sister and my mother was more or less traveling around with him a lot. They lived in Guam. They went to Hawaii. They were down in New Orleans. And finally, my mother had enough. And we ended up in Brooklyn. In Greenpoint, of all places.
Oh, rough.
Living in Greenpoint, it is amazing. We lived right on Manhattan Avenue.
My family was on Manhattan and Withers.
A railroad apartment. And it was the five of us. We lived above the store. And basically, probably must have been about 4 or 5 years, probably 4 years old. I was amazed at the fire trucks coming down Manhattan. You guys familiar with Manhattan Avenue?
Yeah, Louis grew up over there. Louis' family's from there.
Manhattan and Withers in Williamsburg.
It's between Norman and Mesro Street.
Yeah.
Every time we had 4 windows in the front and 4 windows in the rear. So every time an apparatus was coming by, I was in the last bedroom. We all had our own bedroom. It was a big railroad flat. It was nice. And every time a piece of equipment went down, I ran to one of the windows to check it out. I was just amazed. And that time it was ladder 106. And then 146 and 238 were coming from the other direction. So from the very beginning, I was just, shocked at the excitement they were doing just passing into my house. So anyway, ended up going to St. Anthony's School, which was right around the corner from Greenpoint Avenue. So after school, I started checking out 106 was by themselves at the time, a little supermarket store next door to them. I started hanging out there a bit. The guys were really good to me. And,
shit.
I wasn't being a pain in the ass to them. I just stopped in now and then. And I fell in love with it. Right away, I said, I got to do this. But even prior to that, my aunt had a house on Lake Ronkonkoma. And all the cousins, all the Rugrats, we went out there and spent a lot of summertime there. And I heard these sirens going off in the distance. It sounded like an air raid siren, I couldn't figure out what the hell that was. So finally, my aunt said, that's volunteer firemen going to a call. And I didn't even know about the word volunteer because I grew up in Brooklyn. So basically, as time went on, I was hearing the siren a lot, and I happened to be in town, Lake Ronkonkoma. I was about 5 or 6 years old then. This is prior to me going over to 106, and I got to see them responding from the siren. I watched the guys pulling out their rigs and jumping up on the hose bed, putting their gear on. I was shocked. I said, that's got to be me one day. That's how my whole interest is being a fireman. I wanted to be a fireman my entire life.
Wow.
Playing with was fire trucks, all that stuff. Believe it or not, I got some of the original trucks that I played with in my man cave downstairs.
No shit, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So anyway, starting on, there was a park in Greenpoint called McCarran Park.
McCarran Park, yeah.
You in it?
Yeah, hell yeah.
I started latching on to ladder 146. I believe it was 238. No,
229.
229. 238, I think, was by themselves on Norman Avenue.
Right.
Then they built that. Then they built them and put them together.
There was another engine over on India Street that they closed down. So I was set. I said, that's all I wanted to do. What happened was I was going to St. Anthony's, so I was taking time off visiting the firehouses. And out of nowhere, I was in my 8th year of going to St. Anthony's School. My parents decided to move out to Long Island. And I was kicking and screaming. They allowed my brother to stay back, who was going to St. Leonard's, and my sister was working. So they stayed with my aunt, but I had to go to Hopog. I couldn't even pronounce the goddamn name. Hopog. Moved there.
Like Nessaquag.
We moved into a big, beautiful house in the development when they used to build developments. I actually had woods behind my house, and I'm so used to looking out a window on Manhattan Avenue. Manhattan Avenue was my godsend. I loved that place. I ran businesses out of there, believe it or not, as a kid. Nice. I started with the store beneath my apartment. I used to shovel their store, and I expanded my business to other stores to the point where I was having some of my friends shovel their walkways and stuff when it was a snowstorm. I owned both sides of the street. Let
me catch you over here.
I got into cut me up when you think I'm rambling, because I ramble.
You're good, man. You're good.
I got into selling the Daily News and Daily Mirror. You remember those papers? 5 cents a paper. All my cousins and uncles, everybody hung out in bars in Greenpoint. So I would go to all the bars just selling papers. Nobody threw you a nickel. Every person I knew and my cousins knew, everybody threw you a quarter. So I had a few bucks.
This guy's an entrepreneur, bro.
It's a long story short. We moved to Hopog, and I ended up going to Hopog High School, which was fantastic. And out of nowhere, I always wanted to be a fireman. The Hopog commissioners went to Hopog High School and said, "Hey, we need some young guys. We're running out of young guys in the department." I said, "No kidding." I didn't notice at the time. So 6 of us joined, Mike Virgilio, Kenny Bagokis, George Butler, Butch Shaman. I'm trying to think of the original 6 with Kenny Bagokis. We had the time of our lives. I'm telling you. And the best part of this whole deal, we didn't know until we got into the fire department, we were allowed to leave school when the siren went off. None of us had a goddamn car. So we had to run from the middle school a quarter mile down 111 and get on a truck. And now it's all coming back to me, watching guys in Ronkonkoma. You grab gear, which wasn't on the racks. We had no racks. You had to get up in the hose bed and look for where your gear was. As fast as you joined, you went out the door the next day. They didn't have really a lot of regulations, but some of the greatest guys you ever want to meet as a newcomer to a department. They had guys, they were all senior guys. They all, been down the road with it. And that's why they got us involved. And a few of them, Eddie Crean and Chris Hirsch and Warren Hochi and the Monroe brothers, one man stood out to me because he was a New York City fireman. And the moment you ever hear the guy named Bob Camberg?
No.
Worked in Ladder 120. He was a phenomenal carpenter. He was a cowboy. He rode horses and all this stuff. To this day, he's the original guy. Am I facing right? Well, I can't tell.
You're good. You're good.
I'm good. He's the guy that put the horns on 120's rig.
Right, the bull horns? Yeah.
I guess he was a hunter too, right?
The original, probably. But they kept the whole tradition of him up. And one of his nephews ended up going to 120. So anyway, while I'm in 120, while he was in 120, he invites me to go to 120 back in the heyday. This is 1968.
Wow.
120 was down in Brownsville. It was like I can't even describe the amount of work they were catching. They put gear on me. I rode the sideboard, the old running boards. It was amazing what they allowed us to get away with. We didn't fight any fires. Me and another guy always went in there. But what an experience it was. And that made my the interest in becoming a New York spy even that much more greater. It was just an amazing time. And a couple of times we went in there, they actually allowed us to go on the block, and one of us would jump in the tiller seat to try to put the truck in quarters. That didn't work out too well. Richie Rotsman, he actually crashed into they had these cellar doors in the middle that they crashed. So that ended that whole routine. So, but
120, 1968.
Man,
wow.
I went to fires with him, and back in the day, we didn't have a lot of Scott masks on the rigs. I had an old company I was involved in. they had one box, the old Scott box, underneath the deck gun. And you pull up to a job, that's what you had when the company I was in. So if you didn't get that box right away, you didn't have a man. But I always look for Bobby. He said, come on, you don't need a mask. Come on. This guy took me into places. I'm telling you, if it wasn't for him, I don't know what I could have done, because I went places where guys were putting on, whatever mask they had. He was such a tough fireman. He says, no, don't put it on you. I'll show you how, He was,
we say that all the time.
He was trying to teach me how to take a feed without trying to get a feed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pretty amazing man. I don't mean but he's
we say that all the time, Van. We say that all the time about you don't know how far you can go until somebody shows you, right? When you're new at something. So that's like a lot of guys say the same thing. Like you don't realize how far that's what the whole idea is you got to teach the next generation, right?
So during that time, I started writing letters up and down the East Coast to get a job. I didn't give a damn where it was or who it was with. I just wanted to become a fireman. And I was always using somebody's false address, and I got hired. I got hired in White Plains. I went through the whole bit. I did the physicals. I did the interviews. This is like a scene out of a goddamn movie. I go up there, and I sit down at this some sort of office building. There's 4 people sitting there, and there's this one woman talking about all these codes. I'm not paying any attention to her. I wore a 3-piece suit. This was like my final, I got the job. And she's reading all this stuff to me, and I'm not paying attention to it. And finally, one guy turns to me and says, you have any idea what she just said? I said, no, what's that? What happened was a friend of a friend gave me an address to use. I didn't live in White Plains whatsoever. And what I didn't know, which I found out the day I thought I was getting the job, was they actually go to your house and they knock on your goddamn door. Whoops, you go in there. And I wasn't there, guess what? So the guy said, he starts reading the same code off that this woman's telling me, and he goes, well, being that you never lived in this town, you're not being accepted into the White Plains Fire Department. I said, you mean I'm not getting a job? He says, absolutely not. And it was like out of mood. They're tearing up my folder. Oh, shit.
Here you go, Johnson.
Talk about being depressed. I turned around. I had to go have a drink somewhere. I was mortified.
What year was this, Van?
Oh, shoot. I had just turned 21. I think it was maybe near 21. It had to be in the late 70s. Mm-hmm. Not even. Oh, I got out of high school. I was 17. Yeah, in the early 70s, maybe. Late 70s. But no, it can't be late 70s. What am I thinking? I'm trying to keep track of the years here.
Let's say mid-70s.
Yeah.
How old were you when you got on the job?
What?
I got on a job in 79.
I got on a job, I was 26, 27.
Yeah, so probably mid-70s, something like that.
Somewhere around there. So anyway, I also had addresses in Weehawken, New Jersey. I went down to Maryland, to Prince George County. I actually got accepted to go to Philadelphia Fire Department. And that was just before I got called to go to the city. That's where I really wanted to go, to New York City, no matter what. I still, to this day, I give them out to guys who are interested in finding. Most of the jobs you've tried to apply for back then, residencies killed you. Yeah. I went down to Florida. You had to be an EMT and all this stuff, but it was pretty interesting. And
really wouldn't have been bad. They do some
work there. Coops, he really wanted a job, huh?
Hell yeah, man. He's traveling all over the East Coast, bro.
I tell you, but the best part when I left the whole thing with White Plains, I started going from tavern to tavern. The sarsaparillas I was drinking caught up to me. I had to call my brother-in-law at like 2 o'clock in the morning to come get me. And he lived in Ronkonkoma at the time. So he came up to White Plains. I left my car in some tavern somewhere. 2 days later, I had to go pick it up. I was so depressed because I figured I finally got a goddamn job as a fireman. And they crushed me tearing up the folder. I was pissed.
So you took the hard test, right? If you got on 79, you took the one with the ledge walk and the pole, the holder, the chin up for 2 minutes. That test.
Yeah. Well, the test before that I was on, and that's why I had the 3-to-1 ratio. And that test, one of the first questions was, "Who's the president of the MTA?" I was like, "What? The president of the MTA?" I went through that school. What was it called?
Delhanty.
Yeah, I did it all. And I opened up the first test question and said, I'm screwed. who's the president of the MTA? You got to kidding
I don't
me.
even know what the hell MTA stands for.
No. So anyway, I got on in November 24th, 1979. 60 of us. You talk about 60 strong guys. We were the strongest of them all. Middle of November, cold as hell. But what a class. You know, you sure I'm not rambling too much?
I'll let you know.
You know who came out of this class? Jay Jonas, Mike McPartland, Bob Sweeney, Bob Albanese. These are all guys who Mushroom.
I never heard of them.
Barbells, Frank Johnson. These guys all became chiefs and captains, whatever. But what a class we had, I tell you. And some of the picture I sent to you, what I was shocked at when I got hired, I was already in the volleys for like 9 years. When I joined there, the day after I got in, look at that.
Wow.
Whoa.
Look at that guy.
Them chops, Coobs.
That had to be a year later because you were in Proby school. They made you cut. Yeah, sure.
Right.
I had much longer hair back in the day when I went to
Look at them chops, Coobs.
Wow, porn star mustache.
He
Got the whole
definitely had a
thing going,
Huckaboo shirt on, no
That's-
doubt about it.
Oh, bro, I think he got sworn in bell bottoms. I think he was.
Probably did. Who knows? You know, we used to love. You got a picture of the getting back to that. I was given a helmet, turnout coat, and boots when I joined Hart Park. 1968. I joined the New York City Fire Department, greatest fire department, busiest fire department. You know what they gave me?
The yellow helmet.
CD helmet in yellow, rain slickers down to my ankles, and the old gloves that oil guys who deliver oil to your house, those big orange gloves. That's what
Nothing
they
but
gave
the
me.
best. Nothing but the best.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was shocked. You got a picture of that?
I have.
Oh my God. Are you freaking kidding me?
This is one of our days. I love these days because that's me on the left. There's we had Tommy and Vinny Brunton. Bob Sweeney's over here, and John Daly. I tell you, we had a lot of guys who rose to
Heavy hitters, man. Heavy hitters.
I forget this guy's name that's leaning on his chauffeur. I mean, the instructor. He was a piece of work.
Those look like safari hats.
But I forget his name, unfortunately.
Would you go like a vacant or something to do something?
Yeah, we went up to the Bronx. They took us by bus to tear the shit out of these buildings, man. It was the best. That's the best part of the whole class was doing that.
That's pretty comical. That what you guys are wearing. That's
how do you
comical.
give a guy gear like that in 1979? It's
like you're expecting a rainstorm or something.
I hate to tell you this. One of these guys, when we went into the Class A building, the smokehouse, he got pretty badly burned on his hands once with those stupid gloves they gave us. But here was the best part why we were strong. I'm trying to think about what. Oh, first day we're lined up. Guy comes out with a shoebox. He said, "Who wants to be in charge of the shoebox?" I raised my hand. I got it. I got guys all saying, "What are you out of your mind? What the hell you want with a shoebox?" I said, "You just wait." They gave out 2 shoeboxes, one for each squad. So I grabbed the shoebox, and the first day, you used to have little mini inspections where you had to be all dressed up with shining shoes. That's when the shoebox came in. It brings me back to my days in Greenpoint with the shovel in the snow. So the guy said, come on over to me. "Man, you got the shoebox?" I said, "Oh, yeah, I got it." He goes, "Can I use it?" "Yeah, you're going to do my left shoe. This guy here is going to do my right shoe." I never shined a pair of shoes for 6 goddamn
He's the entrepreneur, bro.
in the academy. I was running the whole thing. Guys are, "Come on, I got to have it. We got close. We got to get out to the field." No. You got to wait in line. So
go ahead, go home and
I
get
don't
the
even
shine
know
box.
if they still do that. If you know anybody getting on a job, they still do that routine.
Oh, the shoebox?
Tip them more. Take the shoebox. You'll never shine a pair of shoes while you're there.
How many lunches did you take with the shoebox, too, bro?
But here's how another story in Proby school. In a Proby school, how we really worked as a team. Tulorendo, what was his name? He was the chief of the academy. Tulorendo, big guy. One day he's outside on a sidewalk and a car passes. A couple of guys moon him, leaving the academy. So they line us up. I'm never gonna give him up. I know who. I'll never get it.
He's going to his grave with that one, bro.
So they line us up the next. Every morning you had to do the PT push-ups and all this. We're talking middle of November. It's cold as shit. Oh, excuse me. So they want to know who mooned the chief, and they kept announcing it. Nobody's coming. Nobody's giving them an answer. So they said, "Listen, we realize we don't want you to feel like you're putting down somebody, getting somebody in trouble, but possibly it's the right thing to do because it's a respect for the chief. Nobody's giving up anybody." So now they come back and tell us, "Oh, now they make us do the whole PT all over again. Push-ups, jumping jacks, all that stuff, sit-ups, all for double the time we used to do it." They come back to us. It was like that movie, A Bridge on the River Kwai, when they lined up the guys and they wouldn't let them do something unless they gave up something or whatever. We didn't move an inch. And they said, "Listen, here's what we're going to do for you now. If somebody doesn't want to embarrass themselves by telling them who did it, call an instructor or get somebody on the side, and you could tell them. This way you won't be, look like a rat. My very house, right? A rat."
Family's rats.
Nobody moves. So they kept us doing it. And I tell you, they couldn't break us. They never got down broken.
Even now he's not giving it up.
And the best, out of 60 guys, I think only 58 knew who did it. I mean, 58 didn't know who did it. I didn't know who did it till the class was almost got over with. It was a pleasure there.
Not a rat amongst you.
Really. So after Proby school, a friend of mine was trying to get me in this house and that house, and it didn't work out. And this guy, Al Jordan, he was my volunteer fire chief when I first joined. He ended up becoming a Suffolk County Fire Commissioner. His son, Joe Jordan's on, on his staff.
I was just going to ask you, Chief Jordan. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'll tell you about that deal with him. My wife actually used to babysit him back in the day.
Oh, my God.
Great family.
Hope he's watching tonight.
People talk about what happened with him. But so anyway, he thought if I went to 210 engine at the time, learned some experience in that and be a great house. So me and Francis X. Johnson, we both got assigned to 210 together. We were in a squad together. Frank ended up becoming a captain once. Oh, there we are.
There he is.
Wow.
The reason why I want to show you this picture, but let me tell you a fast story. We walk into the firehouse, and Paul Green, he's a senior guy in the engine, and he looks at the two of us walking together, and he goes, "I'll be goddamn." He says, "That's why I'm not a betting man." I go, "What's up?" He goes, "When I saw your names coming here, Francis X. Johnson and Van Dorn C. Johnson, I thought for sure one of you guys got to be black." Yeah, back in the kitchen, all bets are off. They're both white. And we laugh. Here's what I want to show you this picture. This engine we had was insane. You look at the window. It's a metal crate. They put one on each side. This is way before I ever got to 210. Well, was it that way? Oh, you didn't have that engine, right, Q? See?
No. That was in rapid water, too, it looks like.
And they cut the roof off where you sat. And they put a top. I don't know if you have the picture of the top at all. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. That's the top rolled up on it. So during the spring and summer, it was like fully air conditioned. And then, in the winter, they roll the top back, right? And it was pretty cool. Can I tell you a story about the top now? I got
go ahead, bro.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you a story before that. When I first went to 210, they tell you in a month or so you're going to be on watch and stuff like that. I said, yeah, sure, And, by the way, when we were in Proby school, me and John Soka were probably the only two volleys in the whole class. We helped out a lot of guys. Some guys who raised to fame because of us, I should say. But when I went to 210, and one of my first runs, this lieutenant I forgot to mention, Junius Ron was the captain. You talk about a sweetheart of a man. I always looked at him as like a biker guy in a bit. He was an older guy. He had the longer hair, a little earring. The guys, by the way, the guys in the rescue, let me tell you about some of the guys in 210 for it. Nino Taduni, Jimmy Hayhart, Michael Donnell, Phil Quattrochi, Bobby and Larry. These guys were amazing people. And the rescue and the engine got along great. They really did. That place was like an adventure land. There was so much stuff going on. You know who was there then? You mind mentioning names?
Go ahead.
No, love it.
Jack Pritchett, Jack Kleehouse, Lee Elpy, Pete Bondy, Larry Gray, Tom Dillon, Larry Wetson. These were like John Cogran. They were like Richie Evans. He was one of my Goombas, I'll tell you why. They were like, what a solid deck of cards. As time went on, I'm skipping around a bit. Let me tell you about one of the first runs I went on. Turned out to be a dumpster fire. So it's cold. It's in the middle of, like, I don't know, getting near sunrise. Rescue was out on the road. They happened to come by to check it out. This dumpster's roaring. So Kibler, he's not even getting out of the cab. So I grabbed the booster line as I'm walking by. He goes, "You got this, Johnson?" I say, "Yeah, I got it." So I go up to the dumpster. There's another guy helping me feed the line. I'm knocking it down. And as it's being knocked down, I look down, I see a body in it. And holy Christ.
Never happened back then.
I mean, it was a mess. It's all split open. They cut his hands off.
Oh,
well,
First run.
So a couple of guys from the rescue were standing there, and they're like breaking my balls, like, we'll handle this. So now they're going back to my boss, who's sitting in the cab, and they go, this new guy, they're telling him this. I found out afterward. They're telling him this new probie there. He says there's a body in there, but we don't see a body. And now my boss is getting now he's getting out. He's trying to put on his coat because it's cold. And he comes walking up to me and he goes, "There better be a goddamn body in there telling you what I kill you." So he looks in and he sees this mess and he goes, "You son of a bitch." I go, "What's the matter?" He goes, "You know the paperwork you just created for me?"
I know that feeling.
Now they turn around to me. Now you're the probie, you're the low guy in the totem pole. You got to get him out. I was like, "What?" He goes, "You got to get him out of the dumpster." You had to see it. It was a horrible, horrible scene. No hands, split open. I go to make the effort. I started climbing up, and finally they stopped me. They go, No. You know, you're good to go. Don't worry.
Fish on, baby.
He comes over and he goes, "You made the right thing. You made an effort to do it." So it ends up, they tip the dumpster over, and he rolls out. And now the cops pull up. They're all pissed off because they interrupted a crime scene, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Later on, it was a contractor who actually lived out by me in Long Island. But what a mess. But getting back to our relationship, the rescue, there's another guy there, John Thomas, who decided he wanted to be a taxidermy. So he did his taxidermy on the workbench in 210. He collected picket fences. It was a really amazing place. And I'm telling you, all of them, they made an effort to try to help you out. And one, I felt terrible when he passed away, was Richie Evans. I was away, whatever. I couldn't get he latched on to me. And whenever they came back from a job, he'd sit down and tell me what they did and all. And once we got off probation, they allowed me, Dave Van Voss, Steve DeSario, and Frank Johnson. Only in desperation did a guy from the rescue need it off, which is a rarity. It would allow us to ride. I got to ride with 2-3 times maybe in my time. Oh, you had to be on probation, of course. And one of the times, Artie Connolly grabbed me on the side, and he was showing really a dynamite guy to show you all the ins and outs. But I was with him one day, and I was actually getting off the rescue one day. Oh, Fred Gallagher got promoted, and who walks in the door? Chief Ray Downey. He took over. He was a captain then. He was taking over Fred's spot. And I just happened to be stepping off the back of the rescue. And he took one look at me, and I could see something was wrong. And I found out later, he went over to the guy who was standing next to me. He said, "I don't think I ever want to see a 210 engine Shield come off the back of that rescue ever again." But who was one of my favorites, because I knew before I got on the job, was John Vigiano. I mean, I can't even tell you about that man. I'm just totally amazing person. He came out when I was in jumping ahead of myself. I ended up leaving Hart Park, I moved out to Corman, joined the Corn Fire Department. And he worked for the Suffolk County Fire Academy at the time on the side doing this and that. He called me up and he said, I'm coming to your place to teach about cutting roofs. I had our guys build the roof for him. And he was so like flabbergasted. He goes, I've been teaching this class. Nobody built the roof for me before. And as time went on, I got to tell you about one thing about that top. And listen, slow me down because I ramble.
You're doing good, man. You're doing great.
You're doing good.
I'm listening to your story.
He'll stop you.
I'm supposed to,
We love it.
Getting back to the top, my first job in 210 turned into a borough call. I was like a kid in a department store. We're going in, I think we're going on the second alarm. I'm sitting in the fold-down seat. I'm looking out the window like this. You could see this fire. It looked like the sun come up. It was the Hotel St. Margaret down in Brooklyn Heights. The whole, the last 4 or 5 stories of it is fully involved. So as we're heading down there, all of a sudden, you're hearing this on the rig. With embers like this, fire embers beating on our truck. I had to get in the rig. I'm looking out and I go, jumping, Jesus, look at this stuff. Wouldn't you know, one of these embers burns through this canvas, through the gate, and hits Paul Green, the senior man I was telling you, in his leg. He blisters up. He's like on medical leave before he got off the rig. He hung in there, I tell you. We get off the rig and shit's hitting the fan. I mean, everybody's trying to, get upstairs. Place is falling apart. They tell me and Steve DeSario, take the stang off and go across the street. It was a Jehovah Witness building. So we had a carry. Wouldn't you know, we go in, it's like as high as almost the building. It's maybe 4 stories shorter. They tell us the elevator's out of service. Like, you gotta be kidding me. We're going up these stairs and people are opening up these doors. Hey, what's going on? They're waking up. There's like a 3rd alarm assignment across the street. Nobody knows what's going on across the street. Pissed us off. Go back inside. Were you kidding me? We had to take this thing up onto the adjoining roof. We did the old-fashioned way, tied it off. Within 15, 20 minutes, we were entombed in ice. It was so cold out. So you're sitting there. Me and Steve are taking turns. And the following morning, I'm a block of ice. And all of a sudden, I hear this crash. And I turn around, and the helmet lands alongside of me, and it says Chief of Department. I go, holy shit. It was Chief Cruthers, the father, not the son. And I see him laying on the ground. He tripped over one of our lines that we had tied up. Landed, crashed on his back, really hard. And years later, when I ran into him at one of the affairs, I heard he got out with a bad back. I think I might have been part of your injury. And sure enough, he said, yeah, I took a nasty fall, but that was the beginning of it. But
you catch any work in the Navy yard? Because 210 is always good for one job a year in the Navy.
Oh, here's the best. We go, we're out on a run. We come back, and a guy says to us, there's a fire down by a Navy yard. No, it came over as a pull box. So we got there right away. Nobody else got in town. I got there yet. And I get off to rewind the box, and I look over to the side, and I see this smoke coming out of this stack of one of the ships. So I go around. The captain's still sitting in his seat. He figures he's just about to give a 9-2. I go, hey, Cap, I see some smoke coming out of the stack of this ship. He goes, Johnson, you asshole. Where the hell do you think smoke comes out of a ship? I go, yeah, Pat, 2 weeks ago, we had a drill on that ship. It's in dry dock. And he went, what? Second, 3rd alarm later.
Dump the box.
The security guard comes running up to the gate, opens up the gate. What a fire. You ever been to a ship? I had 2 ship fires there. Bad. It was nasty.
That could be right up there with
they have these damage control lights that go off. They're all in red. I've started off as a backup on the nozzle. We were knocking out lights. It was so hot, we thought it was fire. What an incredible thing. So one of the company parties we had, I went out and bought one of these models of a ship. I burnt the whole top of it off, and I gave it to the captain on the plaque. I said, here's your 9-2. And you called me an asshole. We were about to leave. He was about to call a 9-2, but a lot of fun there. So
Hey,
anyway,
They're always good for one good
Hey.
job a year in the
Yeah.
Navy.
Hey Ben, how was it in the firehouse with you guys were back to front, right? With the
yeah.
rescue.
Oh, you know what they did to me? They found out I was a volley early on, and after I think the first month they show you how to do the day watches, then you had to go over to the evening, how to do night watches. Right off the bat, two guys, chauffeurs of the engines, because you know how you lined up. He knows what he's talking about. Whoever got in last went in the back. Whoever got first. So two chauffeurs from 210 come over and say, "Hey, Van, you drive fire trucks?" I said, "Yeah. I've been in volleys for almost 10 years. Why?" He goes, "When you're on a 3-by, don't you even think."
Got it.
You pull this goddamn rig out. You gotta get in. Didn't you know? I never had a 6-by or 9-by the whole time I was in the company on night watches. I was always a 3-by or midnight or 3-by.
Johnson, you got it.
Am I facing you guys? It's hard to tell which way I'm headed.
You're good.
You're good. You look as handsome as ever, bro.
Was Jimmy Schwick or any of those guys there? Jimmy Schwick or Larry O?
Nah. When
They
I
were
was,
after you. Yeah, they were after you. Then.
so then I
What about Big Billy Smith?
no, I don't recall him.
What's his name went there too? Pete Romeo was in
Romeo? I remember of Romeo.
He was in rescue too.
Then he went to rescue 2 after 210.
Oh,
Did he?
all right. Yeah.
So anyway, I decided, after probation, I was there a few months more. I wanted to look around at a truck, and we were running in with 108, 102, and 110. And John Vigiano come over to me, and he said, "Listen, I want to give you a heads up." I said, "What's that?" He said, "I got a house for you." I said, "What's that?" He goes, "I want you to go 124 truck Bushwick." He said, "They're in a really badass neighborhood. They catch their work, and I'll put in a word for you." I said, "Oh, yeah, why not?" There they are there. And so I filled out the, to get transferred, and he wrote a special note on top of it, which I'll never forget. He wrote, "This is Van Johnson. He's dying. He's dying in a riding academy. He should be in a thoroughbred horse or something like that. I'm dying in a riding academy." But he wrote this little note on the transfer page. And whoever he got sent to happened to be a friend of his, I guess, because I ended up going over there. But before I went there...
Wait a minute. Roof. Vigiano's asking him to go. He didn't ask Vigiano to get over there. Vigiano's asking him to go
I'm
over
sure
there.
he was talking to him all the time. He knew he wanted to
So once he told me about it, I decided to let me go in between tours, or when I get off a night tour, I go over there. And the first time I went over there, I actually my wife just said, "Move over there." See,
Man.
I pull up and I see the truck going down White Coffee Avenue. I said, "Oh shit, I missed him." But I got to the firehouse anyway, and the guy from the engine let me in. And who's sitting in the kitchen? Pete Gansey. He's a lieutenant. I didn't even know who he was. So he invited, "Hey, come on in." I told him who I was. I wanted to try to put it in paper and stuff. He sat down, talked to me. And before I actually got there, I was going there so much. I probably met every guy in the company before I actually got there, which was great. But walking into that house, I don't know if you've ever been in 124.
Yeah.
The wall itself spoke for itself. I mean, you walk in there and you see the 3 individuals that died in the line of duty, unfortunately. Then they had a whole display of all the medal winners, all the unit citations.
Yeah.
Richie Hurst built all of that. Great, Richie very well.
Yeah.
And I said, this is the thing that amazed me too. It was 2 separate buildings. The engine was on the opposite side. 2 separate doors. You couldn't go in their building unless you walked out of one.
You had to go outside.
Right. It was really. I didn't give a damn, really.
Hey Ben, I was at 117, so we had kind of similar situation over there. Yeah.
That stuff, but it worked out pretty good, with the engineer, because they had the chief, we didn't, that worked out well. And the lineup in that company, George Warthoe, Pete Gansey, George Isaac with his lieutenant, and Jimmy Ellison. I mean, what a stack of bosses. and they were all into going to jobs. George Iser, oh, there you go.
Wow.
In the middle there, and that's Danny Buckeye, Mike Cogan, Richie Hurst, and Jimmy Reinheimer. Unfortunately, passed away a couple of years ago, but that was a classic rig. I'm still trying to find a picture of that actual truck at its whole. That was with the old gray boom and the Tonka truck. But
who came up with the name Tonka?
I'm just going to ask you, where did that name come from?
One of the Patty Schweiger, he was one of the senior guys, Mr. Iron.
Schweiger.
I don't know if you know Patty Schweiger, but talk about guys in that company then. Bobby Metcher. You know what I was impressed with? All of them, just about the entire company, were all senior guys. They really were. They all went through the war years. And Bobby Metcher, Pete McCarthy, Angelo Catalano, Jimmy Reinheimer, Willie Donald, he's in the book, Richie Hurst. I'm trying to think of all the different names. Patty Lee. People that got there just before me, Mike Killerin, what they call him, John Wazinski.
Okay, was there too.
But the whole thing was that everybody there went through, the thick and thin of it all. They and Bushwick, I don't know if you know much about Bushwick, it was a hellhole. The drugs and the killings that went on there, it was amazing. It was just but one thing I loved about it, we had a little bit of everything. We had a whole industrial area. Some of your pictures you've seen of some of the factory fires we had. But between that and Knickerbocker Avenue, Wyckoff Avenue, there's one. That's McGibbon and White. It's a 5-story factory. It was a torch job, and fully involved. It's crazy stuff. They were in there. I actually was coming in for a guy early to relieve me. He had to go somewhere, and I took my truck and got down there and I relieved them. They were pulling ceilings in there originally, and gas was coming out of the damn ceilings. That's when they had to get everybody out of there. But the neighborhood, I tell you, it was a dangerous place to live. The people, it was such a versatile area. So many different ethnic groups were there. It was amazing. And they loved us. You have no idea what we did to try to, get somebody put the heat back on, or, the way they had the best electricians I've ever seen. They'd run extension cords from a 3-story frame out the front door, down the block to a parking street pole.
Yeah.
What was the place that they used to wrestle? The Ridgewood Grove? I remember
Ridgewood Grove Arena.
Yeah.
I remember when that burned.
Oh. But I'm trying to remember so many names that they're just incredible people that I got to work with. And Angelo Catalano was he was like a Nino Teduni. He had his own restaurant on the side. Pete McCarthy, Bob Urban, Danny Buckeye. What's cool about it? We had all the trades covered. We had Bobby Metcher was a plumber, Mike Killerman was a carpenter, Jimmy Heiss, John Heiss was a carpenter. We had a lot of trades in there. It was pretty cool. But I think I set up one time. We went to a thing with the old tenements. They used to run. They had the old pipes. They used to just run electric lines through. So we got on a call where they had a ceiling fan. So being I was a new guy now, go up and take down the fan. I'm taking it down, and I let off a spark. I turned into a gigantic blue flame. Yes.
Still in the pipe. Yeah.
My eyebrows, I lost half my face. It was like a big joke every year. I thought to this day, they probably set me up. Somebody must have known there's still goddamn gas in that pipeline. It singed the hell out of me. But they said it was a big blue flame. Then they felt bad. Then when they saw what it did to me, oh my God, I could have went on medical leave. I took such a hit.
You know what?
How long did it take you to catch your first job when you went to 124?
The first night, George Iser was my boss. I went to 3 jobs that night.
Wow.
First doing 2 of them, and second doing the third one. And I went back to Valleyland. I forgot to tell you. I left Hauppauge, and then I joined the Corps Fire Department. And I was like telling stories all night long. I couldn't wait to go back to work there. But the neighborhood, besides that, row frames. We had
a lot of row frames.
I mean, you talk about some serious fires. Everything from the basement up is all made out of wood. Cot lofts, you could either crawl in it or stand in it. You used to catch a vacant in the middle of the block and forget about it. Guy in the cot loft, burned to the corner, everybody went home. It was nuts. But the good thing about it, guys were breaking your shoes about, guys doing this and that. I always look at the work we're providing for all the surrounding companies that didn't do a lot of work,
Yeah.
You get a second, third alarm in a row frame. Hey, come join the party.
You know what, Van?
Top floor,
I was just gonna.
A couple of engines that were doing the work, they loved it when they heard us say, they got to say, yeah, let's go,
I was just going to ask you this because my father finished up in 291 and 140. They are real close to the Tonka truck on Himrod. How the hell did they not see any of that work and you guys were going to work?
I'm sure they've seen it, but
the fun part with having the wall, we broke their balls. Oh my God, what we did to them. And they did.
Who was that? The engine?
271.
I'm talking about 291 and 140. They were really close to you. But they didn't see any work there. They didn't see a third of the work that you guys were seeing.
I don't know. It was really, but one of the things we used to do to the engine, if you don't mind my telling you, the house watches were side by side. And they had some holes in the wall. Guys would be in there smoking a cigar, blowing smoke on the guy in the house watch. Bobby mentioned me came up. We decided to make a homemade bazooka. And we packed it with flour and had a Scott bottle attached to the back of it. And so we sneak out our door and go into their door. And this guy, Richie Bonus, is sound asleep, flaming red hair, out like a light. His mouth is always like this in his thing. And we hit him. We hit him so hard, we almost killed him. Because all the flour went in his mouth and blew out the whole house watch. He's laying on the ground. We snuck back next door and we still heard him rolling on the floor, coughing. He's pulling powder out of his mouth and all this stuff. I felt bad because he was a really good friend of ours. Another thing we did, we played pirates one night. A couple of times we did this. We filled up this. You don't mind me rambling about this.
No, go ahead.
No. Cut me off whenever you want.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do it.
We would fill up the socks with the flour. And it'd be like 2, 3 in the morning. We dressed up like pirates. We put bandanas on. And about 5 or 6 of us would sneak upstairs. We're all out like a light in the bed. And the last guy in would carry a big bottle of pneumonia. So we wouldn't put on a light, just go down the bunks, hitting with socks. And the last guy would pour pneumonia that you had to get out of the room. Another guy would be downstairs underneath the pole hole where we had a bin where we used to wash our blades with diesel fuel. He'd stick the diesel fuel under the pole hole and light it up. The smoke go up. And they really took it well. We had a pretty reasonable time with them with all that.
I don't think it's like that anymore though, right? They
oh Christ, you get fired.
No, I'm talking about they kind of get along now, don't they?
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't. We didn't get along. They broke the wall down. That was the whole thing.
When was that? About what year they broke the wall down?
I can't remember the year. They broke through on the apparatus floor and the bunk room. Oh no, on the 3rd floor. Really, there was a lot of history in our firehouse. And I'm into history of old time days. We had these hooks up in the ceiling where the harnesses would come down and go around the horses. Our kitchen was the barn where the horses were kept. And the kitchen was always up on the top floor. So they were doing some renovations. We had marble bathrooms, marble stalls, everything. So the job comes in and said, we got to renovate this place. And they came in, instead of having marble bathrooms, they put 2 of these metal tins together to make a shower for 2 guys. It was disgraceful. And they actually made us go out on a BI one day so they could put some pipes up to the engine office. And they cut all these fixtures up in the ceiling for all the horse stuff. They didn't know what it was for. So it was all tin. And you know why the firehouses were built the way they were back in the day with the horses, with all the subway tile on the walls? No? Come on.
No.
Not a Jeopardy question. It's because of flies. Read about it. Flies couldn't make nests with all the horses in the firehouse. They made all the old-time firehouses made out of subway tile. So flies couldn't make nests in them. And it was easy to clean. They went in there with hoses, washed down the whole damn building.
Look at that.
Tin ceiling. See that?
Little history from Van Johnson.
I'm going to fact check him.
I'm going to make that a lieutenant's test.
You're going to fact check him?
Little nugget there, fellas. Little nugget.
Well, make the second question. Who's in charge of the MTA, Ruff? And then the first question.
Terrible memories.
Were you there when Carlson got there?
Another one that happened. We had flat roofs in the back of the firehouse on each side. And we had the carpenters and all. We decided to put a pitch from the second floor down. Here's the pitch. You see it up in the ceiling?
Uh-huh.
This is a great room. This is after the wall came down. These are all, believe it or not, all these pictures are jobs. And there's our old scaling ladder. I got to tell you a story about that, too. This 124 came from one of the buildings on Wyckoff Avenue. The woman, an elderly woman, was selling the building. And we told her, is there any chance we can get this stained glass from you? She said, take it out now because the new landlord's coming in, or the new owner's coming in soon. So that's where we ended up getting that. That scaling ladder used to be down where on the left there. That was the original size of the room at the time. We built the ceiling up above it so the roof would go off. And we asked the engine, hey, you guys mind? We'll do yours too. They didn't want any part of it. Well, guess what happened? Big snowfall. Oh, I'm jumping ahead of myself. They had a serious fire. Eddie Rivers was cooking fish or something on a stove, and it caught fire and caught their kitchen on fire. And I'm trying to think of the fella's name. It was his first day in the engine. He pulled up with his van. He ended up becoming a chief. Richie, damn it. The engine pulls up, and they had the old stick shift. Mm-hmm. They went to put it in pump. The truck leaps across the street and takes this guy reporting for duty his very first day and knocks his van up onto the sidewalk because now there's smoke coming out of the firehouse. So what happened was they never really fixed the firehouse right because what happened after we put our ceiling up, a couple of years later on Super Bowl Sunday, of all places, this like 12 by 12 or bigger 14 by 14 I-beam that was all charred that they never collapses. So they had to call Rescue 3 from the Bronx on Super Bowl Sunday.
I love that.
You want to see a bunch? I wasn't there, thank God. You want to see a bunch of pissed off firemen in the middle of the Super Bowl coming, putting jacks up to hold their damn ceiling up? So we were like, we told you so. You should have done it when, we wanted you to.
How did he said Beinstein? Is it Beinstein?
Beanstein. That's it. Beanstein.
Patty knows, man. Always comes in clutch, that guy.
Sharp, bro. That guy's sharp
every time, man.
Richard Beanstein, great guy. Yeah. So anyway, I forgot to tell you, my son's on the job. He's in ladder 132. And I'll tell you about him with Ground Zero and everything. There he is.
Oh, I know him. I know that face.
Do you?
He works with my cousin. My cousin's in 132.
His house, I'm telling you, he just sent me a picture. If you ever been over to 132, they're a tight house. When I went over there a couple of times, the guys in 280, they look like the front line in the New York Giants. I'm telling you, big guys. And you're talking, they're as tight as house as Tonka truck is, if not more. They have these events where they have an Olympic day or big picnics. The amount of people that turn out for them, it's just incredible. They do these steak nights where they go out you have to be a member of the company, an active member. No retired guys go to this thing. They just had one last month. They pick out a steakhouse in Manhattan. They eat and drink. I don't even want to tell you what they spend because there might be some of their wives listening. What they go from there.
Yeah, it's hot dogs and soda.
A lot of that. A few
John,
stacks.
put that picture back up.
What's wrong?
I have this one, and then I have this one. So we have two of them.
Yeah, that's
Ruff, you missed your cue. What do you always say?
What's that?
Ruffy, what do you always say?
Thank God he looks like his mother.
Thank God he looks like his mother, that kid, bro.
Good kid. He's 6'5", and he's a chauffeur there now, and
how long is he on the job now, Van?
He's on the job 22 years now.
Oh my God,
you old bastard!
I gotta tell you this. I was going to tell you later on. I was working on 9/11, and he was going off onto a rotation, with 3 months, and it was on a Monday night. He had all of his stuff with him. I think it was 36 truck way up in the other end of Manhattan. He had to go for a month or two, whatever the thing was. I called him right after the second plane got hit. I said, you better get to work. And I'm figuring he was going to go to his company, but being that he had everything with him, knowing him, he drove right to ground zero, and I met up with him. But I'll talk about 9/11 later on, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
So anyway, one of the things that I admired the most was, when you're in a company for a long length of time, you see so many different offices and people come, So after we went through with George Walter as a captain, Howie Carson.
Just going to ask you about him, bro.
Howie Carson, probably our longest standing captain. He was there like 10 years. You never saw a guy who wanted to go to fire. He says, here's Howie. And Tom Cleary. I guess you heard of Tom Cleary.
Yep.
Tom Cleary was a chauffeur down in 120 for God knows how many years. A total gentle giant. Fast fire story with him. Stan Baczynski was in the company at the time. We lost a few guys at our house. Stan Baczynski, Billy Esposito, Eddie Checchia, they went to rescue too. Gio went to
DC.
4. Excuse me?
And DC went to 4.
Yeah, Van DC, Gio went to 4, and Patty Dolson. So, these were really sound firemen. So we go to this job one day, and Stan's got the irons, and he's with Cleary. I had the OV. The fire, I think, was on the second floor. And so we had to go upstairs. The inside team was going up. 112 was on the fire floor. So 124 goes up to the third floor. I go in the front window, and it's mud. It's down to the floor. I mean, heavy shit pulling out. I put on my mask, and I go in, and I'm crawling up to the middle floor, and I hear a voice, and I recognize it's Tom Cleary. But before I recognize the voice, I see this glow, a little glow, because I'm getting close. I'm crawling up.
Don't even tell me.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And who is it? And Stan's behind him. Stan's got his mask on. And I start talking to him. Look, he's got a Camel cigarette in his mouth.
He's got a cigarette in his mouth.
You got to be shitting me. I was like, oh no. Now I'm embarrassed with me and Stan. Hello, how are you? What do you want? So we both take off our mask, and now we're gagging, but we're trying to hold it in. This man is tough as nails, and what a gentle giant. And you know what he did for the company, being he was a chauffeur in 120 so long? He showed us a whole new way. Bushwick streets now. You get it was always originally a tower ladder. A tiller. And he showed us this way of making a turn. He said, you just don't want to turn into the bar. You got to go to the corner and then back up and go straight down. We call it the Cleary turn. And it's taught to all the new chauffeurs, even a couple of senior guys were, no disrespect to him, but it was something he brought to the table. It's just beyond amazing. It was, but what a gentle giant he was.
Cleary turn? You think they're still teaching that?
What's that?
You think they still teach that over there?
I hope so. I think they do, because it's been passed down, and it's worked out great for everybody who ever tried it. I'm trying to say, in case you had to make a left, you don't make the left. You make the left into the opposite, to the corner you want to make the left, and just back up the rig this way, and then go straight. Worked out really well. But
Patty Lee said, Father Tom.
He was a great guy, Patty Lee. But Danny Buckeye, I think he's been on, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
He was probably the handyman of anybody.
Oh, MacGyver is right.
You didn't want to work sometimes when Danny decided he's going to replace the kitchen floor. 2 o'clock in the morning, you're mixing cement and shit in the wood. Danny, you killed him. What a tough guy it was.
I believe that.
You ever want to do? Me and Mike Hogan, we had lunch together, and we get back to the firehouse. I don't know what possessed us to do this, but we decided we're going to wrestle him. I don't know if you realize Danny was an All-American wrestler in college.
Yeah.
I kind of knew it, but at the time we didn't even think of it. So what happened was he's going to tag team us. So Mike Hogan, this is behind the rig on the apparatus floor. Within 5 seconds, Danny's got Mike in a pretzel, and he's slamming him down. And Mike's like this, trying to put his hand out to me, like, tag me. I think he had me lesser time than that, but he actually picked me up, slammed me down on the floor. I had a lump on the side of my head. I said, "What are you doing?
Concrete, yeah. What are you doing?"
What an amazing guy, though.
Give me a hematoma.
That guy's a strong guy. I remember him. He was a strong guy.
He's still doing this whole pool business.
Yeah.
Everything. By the way, next week all the boys are getting together. It's 124 day next Wednesday.
Yeah.
And what happened over the years, everybody who more or less lives on Long Island and there's Suffolk, we go to a certain, I got to throw a plug on this. Lily Tomlins, Lily Tomlins, right? In Babylon.
The bar?
Lily Flanagan's, I'm sorry. Lily Flanagan's is the place where we go. And the bartender named Greg, retired guy from 175. I'm trying to plug into this place because I'm going to get a free beer out of this from this guy. Lily Flanagan's for you. But we have a great time. But all the new guys, a lot of them live in Staten Island or Brooklyn or Queens. A lot of young bucks. I don't blame them. They go into Manhattan looking for you know what and have a good time with themselves. But it's great. We get a lot of guys show up there. One thing about the new guys, I got to tell you, they keep the Tonka Truck tradition going. They go to everything. They're at the 9/11 memorials, they're at all the line of duty funerals. You can't ask for anything else from them. They really they show out for us. They're a great group of guys. They really.
Who's the captain there now, Van?
Scott Mooney. Scott Mooney. I got to before the show ends. I want to read off some of the. You got
time. You got plenty of time.
All right.
Tell us a little bit about working with the captain. You were talking about Carlson, Howie Carlson.
Howie was he was like a bull in a china shop. He loved to go to fires. He really did. Howie the Horns. There he is. That was one of his retirement things that he did. He was just an absolute amazing partying guy. He very laid. I shouldn't say laid back, but he never bothered anybody. You know, I never heard him yell at a guy in the firehouse for anything. Oh, one guy. Howie was a big fan of eating certain foods, you know, so we made an exception. We were going to have something. Howie wanted this. Howie got what he wanted. I think it was on New Year's Eve. We had a guy, what was his name? It's got to come to me. Steve Bohm. We bring in beautiful steaks, and we were having a pretty busy night, and he was laying over, and he wanted to step up to cook. And Howie's like, "You better know how to cook steaks or I'll kill you," something like that, you know? So sure enough, we were running around all night. We finally come back. For some reason, he put the steaks on after, I don't know which run we were on. We come back, they look like hockey pucks. But Howie was going to split them in half. And Howie, it's the only time I see him really get aggravated, so to speak. And Bohm's like, I don't, you know, he's one of these carefree guys. Don't worry. Him and Bohm didn't get along too well.
Yeah, after that, anyway.
Good, but he should have never started the meal when he did, you know? It was crazy.
I'm trying to remember. I came on with somebody out of my probie school, went to 124. I'm trying to remember his name.
Where the hell am I at?
Rigoli? Something like
Rigoli.
Not Rigoli. I'll think of it. It was 1993. He went there. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah,
he was there a long time.
I came out with Iser. He went there, right? Chris Iser went there?
Yeah. You know, well, that's what I was going to tell you. You know, after you work with all the senior guys I was with, another new wave came in.
All their sons.
I'm not bragging. I really think 124, we were like a magnet to getting good bosses and great firemen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the guys who came there were just amazing. The Tony Fontana's, Tommy Hughes. Tommy Hughes was our outdoorsman. This guy hunted. He tied boats. He was the hunter of the whole pack. But there was so many guys that you depended upon that, you know, really down to earth. John Finn, there's a guy for you. John Finn's still working there. John Finn's probably going to age out. Super fireman, chauffeur. He's probably, I think he's 61, 62.
Wow.
Great shape. This guy would run from Staten Island to come to work or ride a bike. I mean, And he's still there. This wonderful guy. But Brian Kelly, Jesus Christ, I'm starting to get lost with names. But it's just weird how so many good. Oh, Bobby Speck. See, that's why I should have wrote down a bunch of names.
Tell me a little bit about Patty Schweiger.
I forgot. Patty Schweiger, Bobby Stanton. Schweiger was the irons man of all times. Him and Bob Stanton. He got the irons. He was the irons guy. And I got to tell you what I did to him one time. I thought he was going to kill me. I always used to
He's a big guy.
John Nesbitt. Well, getting back to Schweiger, we had an event. For some reason, Patty couldn't go to it, and he was the only guy working 124. So we figured Patty's definitely going to take the irons. They had a covering boss, and he says, "No, I need you to take the OV. You're the only one who probably knows the bucket," which Patty did. Well, they catch a job, and it was between. You had to take the bucket down between two buildings in an alleyway. They said it went like a pinball machine. Bang, 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 bang. Beat the shit out of the rig. The rig was out of service for a few months. So I always made these goof awards, which some of them are still in the firehouse. I did every year. You screwed up around me, you get a plaque.
An oops award?
An oops.
I like it.
I went over to the shops and I got a joystick. I sprayed it in copper.
Joystick.
I presented him at one of the dinners or whatever. I thought he was going to kill me. I was such a sweetheart of a man. He didn't want. John Roddy is another guy. I'm telling you, these names are coming to me, and they were such good people. Richie Hurst. Richie Hurst was another car. He did all the work there. But John
Bobby Fackner.
Bobby Fackner. Yeah, I didn't get to work with Bobby. He had just left just prior to me getting there. But one of the things we took pride in was our reputation, and that was important to us. And that's what John Vigiano told me early on when I wanted to go there. He goes, "These guys got a good reputation. They're always doing the right thing. They're at they're always in the right spot." And he was a wonder of a guy, John. It's a shame that he passed away. He's a guy who should have been in your book.
Yeah.
The Save a City. Have you guys ever talked to Mike McPartland?
Yes, I tried to get him on the show. He doesn't and I heard he tells a good story too.
He wanted to get. Oh, I forgot. We had some of the best lieutenants you ever want to work with. Kevin Bennett, Bob Hannon. Bob Hannon was whatchamacallit, James Gordon Bennett man. He was up in 22 truck. We repelled off a building, saved somebody. These guys are just incredible. John Fortunato. I'm starting to.
Yeah, good. I like it.
I want to read them off to you before the end of the people that pass through our doors, so I don't piss off anybody. I was telling George there that my biggest thing is when you come on something like this and you forget somebody's name. You forgot Bobby Speck, all these guys. I got to tell you this one story. You ever piss off a chief?
Yeah. No.
No, Louis never done that. Louis never finger poked a chief.
Here's a pissed off story for you. One day they're going to blow up the Greenpoint gas tanks.
Yes.
Oh, I remember that.
Right? Remember that?
Yeah.
So we get a covering officer that day, and we tell, "Hey, Lou, we're going to go down to 206. They got a balcony. It's going to be fabulous. Front row. It's front row for the gas tank. They're right behind them." So yeah, whatever. It's first time in our building. So we go down there and we walk in. I don't know if I should mention the chief's name. Maybe I should. He's off the job, but may come back to get me. I don't know. We walk in and this deputy chief is sitting at the house watch as we walk in. We were like, what the hell is he doing here? So we just, everybody's being, cordial. We salute. "Hey, how you doing, chief?" We go up to the roof. 206 has got families up there. It's a show. Show.
It was a big thing. I remember that.
We were up there less than 10 minutes, and they called this lieutenant. I wish I knew his name. What an absolute nice man this was. And he gets the word, "Go back to quarters." We're like, what? What did we do wrong? We're in our response area. We got the rig facing Brooklyn, not facing Queens.
Right.
So we're on our way down. And, I was one of the senior guys. I had to stop there. "Hey, Chief, what's up?" He goes, what are you doing here? And I said, we come to watch the gas tanks, But I said, Chief, nothing for nothing. You know our area. We're
not 2 boroughs over. Right, exactly.
He goes to me, I don't care. I said, well, I just wanted to let you know one thing. It has nothing to do with the lieutenant. He's covering for the day. We told him what he liked to do. He was just a police. Like, yeah, all right. He thought it was harmless too. We all did, right? We go back. And one of the speaking of chiefs, let me tell you this. What chiefs we had. I told you I ramble. You didn't want to believe me.
Yeah.
When you deal with a chief boss, who's another? Murphy, Dan Melia, and Joe DiBonato. I want to tell you the whole story.
I remember he was in the 2-8. That's right.
Yeah. Phenomenal man. So anyway, one of the chiefs I won't mention because everybody hated him. We're going to Emerald Street. He's out in the street like this. Can you see my arms?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, by the way, Tonka truck's in the house.
Didn't see it.
He's out in the middle of the street like that. Oh, Christ, this is not good. We stop the rig, and he yells at the officer, I want you in my office right now, like that. Guy ain't getting out of the cab. He said, I'll be right there. He stays in the cab till we back in, right? So he goes upstairs. So we're all in the kitchen. He goes, what the hell's going on here? We figured it had to do.
The other chief called him.
So I was the senior guy. He said, man, we got to do something. I said, you're absolutely right. So I go up there, and as I'm going up 271 to the chief's office, I can hear him yelling at him. I said, this is bullshit. This ain't right. So I knock on the door, and I go, and he goes, Van, not now. Just like that. I go, whoa. Let me just tell you what happened. And no, I'm talking to him now. Leave. I said, I can't leave because I just want to tell you one thing, and I'm out of here. He goes, what's that? I go, first off, it's nothing on him. This guy came into work. We told him what we like to do. He said, yeah, fine. We didn't think there was anything wrong with it. Either did we, so we got there. Well, you were told to leave. And I said, well, that's what I'm here about. Why did we have to leave? What were we doing wrong? Everybody that had families up there would have been a nice time. He goes, you were told to leave. I go, yeah, but we don't understand why. He says, well, the deputy told you to leave. It wasn't a direct order. Oh, let me back up again. We never left.
Oh,
all right.
Back up. We left 206.
Eddie, there's Van right there.
there's the chief next to him.
I figured it was a good time.
I can't believe it. We left 206, but we never went back to firehouse immediately. So we're leaving. The guys got a little annoyed, and he said, you know where else you could watch this from? We said, yeah, go straight down Flushing Avenue. There's a little side pier there. So we parked there. Nobody's there but us. We got to see the tanks come down. We were all happy. So now I'm up in the chief's office, and this guy is really giving me a hard time. This was bullshit. You were told to come back. We did. He goes, why did it take you so long? We said, we didn't take us that long. Because just as we left, just as we pulled up, we got to see the whole show. We were all happy. So anyway, I go back. I gave my speech, spiel to the chief and all. You shouldn't do anything. The guy comes back next door and he goes, what can I tell you? I got a 2-day rip. I go, you got a 2-day rip?
For that?
What? And he goes, well, I guess I didn't come back in time. I shouldn't have been there. The moment he said he got a 2-day rip, guys were running up to their locker. You talk about how good Tonka truck was.
Get their money to pay for it.
We had a pile of money for this guy. He didn't want to take it. We insisted, you got to take it. He goes, guys, listen, a 2-day rip is nothing to me. He says, my job, what I'm doing now, I'm grateful for it. I go, well, what the hell you do? He goes, I'm a pecker checker. I go, say what? He goes, I'm a goddamn pecker checker. What the hell is a pecker checker? He goes, I'm working at headquarters. When the guys go in and take a piss, I got to make sure they're pissing in a cup and nobody else is. Well, for me getting a 2-day whip, it's a blessing for me. I don't have to look at some guy pissing all day. You can't make this stuff up.
No. Did he take the money?
What?
Did he take the money?
Yeah, we insisted. He didn't want to take it. We fought with it. We were almost thrown in this. I mean, he got more money, could have got it a weekday whip. I mean, we all bucked up heavy for it. I can't remember this guy's name, but
the brother's doing the right thing, man.
Yeah. crazy stuff.
That's always tough if you're bouncing around and, you want to do what the guys want to do, right? So
yeah.
What are you gonna be a dick and say no?
Nah.
You're in your first due area, right? I mean, so you're in your response area. So what's the big deal?
But, the thing is too, when like I said, when you see different waves of guys come in, and one was better than the next. Mike Killeran and I'm trying to think who came on board with Mike Killeran.
What's his name?
Oh,
Billy Urban. He used to go from 117. He used to go to Greenpoint to go get Kabasi and Krishticki.
Oh, yeah.
Could you imagine?
That's
out of the area.
Al Navarrete was another guy that was there. Yeah, come on, we always call them. I can't say enough about the guys that just came through that door. They were all into the job. They all excelled at firemen. Stan Bazinski, all the guys who went to rescue, I always told them, you learned everything from being in a Tonka truck. There's an amazing guy that came across the floor. Jimmy Gels, Chief Gels? He came from 271.
Yes.
A real great guy. I knew him from the Valleys. He's a commissioner also out in Yarmouth. I hooked up with him one night. I don't know where the hell we were coming from. We were in uniform, and we bounced into some bar on the west side. And this bar was having a booze crew around Manhattan Island. And being we the only two guys in uniform, he said, you guys got to come with us. They all paid to get on board and all. No, you got to be our guest. We had no business getting on this boat. We were right where we were. We were out of our minds to begin with. Well, anyway, we get on this boat. It's a circle line. And we're flying around. They're whining and dining us like crazy. And me and Jimmy, we had a few adventures together in the past, so I knew we were in for a treat. So anyway, at one point I said, let's go see the captain. He's up on the bridge, right? We go up there, and there's this big guy, and he has a ponytail down to his waist. Big guy, and he says, where he's from? We tell him we're both Volleys also. And he goes, Volley, I'm the chief of Palisades Park Fire Department. And now he's having, this whole conversation about his department. He goes, guys, I need a blow. I go, what do you mean? He goes, take the wheel. I said, take the wheel? When you guys operate? So I get up there for the wheel, and this boat was about 5 foot wide, it seemed. It was like almost like something out of a wheel. Here we are going under the Brooklyn Bridge and all this. I passed it on to Jimmy. We saw a good round of halfway around the island with this captain sitting there enjoying it.
Come on.
I tell you, it was a blast. Totally nuts.
Hey, Ben, you know what I wanted to ask you?
Yes.
Did you ever study?
I did in the beginning for a very short time. And I don't know. I just, I was kind of set. I kind of loved where I was at. We were catching work. And, I just didn't have an interest in it.
It's my kind of guy, Ruffy. That's my kind. What about, did you ever entertain the thought of going to a rescue?
I did. And, one thing that happened, I went on light duty after 9/11, and they sent me to the rack unit up at Rescue 3. There's another group of guys, Jerry Murtha, not Ellison, one of the lieutenants there. He didn't like volleys. I'm trying to think of his name. But I had an absolute great time with it. Kanapi, Mickey Convoy. And you know what I loved about it?
The two bodies.
You ever been up that way? Not even in a new building.
Yeah.
2 separate buildings. One was an engine company years ago, had the spiral staircase going up. Well, the rack unit was in the front and the collapse unit was behind it. You got to see the office the rack unit had. The rescue office was the size of a rat hole. It was really tiny. I don't know why they never decided. Later on, they did switch it before they moved. But what I really got a kick out of it was I followed them. The moment they went on the 1075, I went out with them. I didn't wait for the rack unit to get called. Say the hell with that. And one time I was starting to break in their shoes when they would come out of the building. I'd be standing there with the bug juice, hey, it's self-serving. You didn't have to come find me. I went there. I had such a great relation to them. Jerry Murtha come over and he said, listen, we want you to come to the Rescue 3. I said, say what? He goes, yeah. You got the time in the truck and all. We'd like to have you join us. And I gave it some thought. He goes, we talked it to the captain. He said, all you got to do is say a yes or no. because we could put you in the rescue school in about 2 weeks. When I tell you the truth, I was that close to thinking about it, but I said, I've been in 124 so long. It was not a bad drive going to the Bronx. And I had to call him back and said, you know. And in a way, I'm glad I didn't, because within that next year, like 5 of the guys that I admired, they all retired. I was like, shit, you know. So
Yeah,
I had
right.
the opportunity. But I don't know. I just Tonka truck was very special to me, you know.
Yeah, Patty Lee said he was living the dream in the greatest truck in the world.
Yeah. No, you don't realize it till you know, you if you go to somewhere else. I never had the opportunity of going somewhere else. So I heard other guys that were putting in for our company, and you know, it's a tough house to get because we always loaded with guys.
Right.
We really didn't have room for a lot of people. But I mentioned Bobby Speck to you.
You did.
You did. Yeah.
A lot of guys from the house too got promoted. It was pretty cool, you know. Bobby did, Patty Lee did. Who else?
Man, was it Riegler? Was the guy's name Riegler?
Oh, Scotty Regal. Scotty Regal. He went to the boats there for a while. Scotty was a great guy. But they were all great. I can't use the word over and over. I can't use any other word because all these guys I work with. Tommy Hughes, though, he was the main guy that he loved to go fishing. You ever have like a hunter guy hunt anything, fish?
I know a guy like that.
You know, a super fireman.
Oh.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah. Lou, you're a hunter.
The guy above me, you know. This
Hunter.
Lou, you're a hunter?
Yeah.
Hunter, fisher, he'll kill anything. Whatever.
Anything.
John
Very quiet. I'm hunting weapons.
You want to hear a killing story? That's what brought
Oh, yeah.
That's what brought the wall down.
Kill, be
A killing story of a
Killing
human being or an animal?
Killing roaches. Seriously.
Ah, nice.
We got infested with roaches one time. We had our own exterminator. You'd be sound asleep. We had first off, our kitchen was the old barn, and we had 4 couches in it. You'd be sound asleep, and this exterminator, who was a friend of a friend, would come around to spray stuff. Surprised we're not all dead from it. I tell you, because we used to have to open up the bay door just to get the goddamn smell out of the place. So what happened was I don't know, it was a roach or some sort of bug dropped out of the ceiling on the kitchen table. Oh, Frankie McVeigh. You don't mind throwing names as they come?
No, not at all.
Frankie McVeigh. I'll tell you after this roach story. So the job decides to come in and check out what's going on in our ceiling. And they realize, you know, it was a clean house. You ever go to a firehouse that's filthy? I hate that shit.
Yeah.
You know, one thing we did committee work every day. You go to these other places where I won't mention. It was like you go in their bathrooms in a dirty firehouse, like pissing in Penn Station or something. You know, you gotta be kidding. And you always get, we're too busy, you know, we've been running all night. Yeah, bullshit.
I might have heard that line once before.
You spend half your damn life in a firehouse, right?
Fucking
Yeah.
I
It's another house.
Where you eat and sleep. Why should you have to put up with that?
I agree 100%.
Seats haven't been changed in 3 weeks. They actually walk off the bed sometimes on these places. So anyway, getting back, this exterminator comes in and they say, oh yeah, there's stuff going on in your ceiling and all. And then all of a sudden these inspectors come in, and that was the beginning of the wall coming down. They said, oh, why? Then other people from headquarters came in. Why you have 2 house watches like that? Why do you have 2 separate kitchens like that? Here's a kitchen story for you. Bobby Metcha, the guy who helped me with the bazooka for the house watch, their sink on the engine side gets clogged. And I'm working in the engine that night. And I go over and I said, you know, they got a serious problem. Bob was the plumber of the house. I said, Bob, you want to come over there? Nah, I ain't going over there. I know how to fix this. He knew there was that both of the traps went into one central line. What's he whip out? The old bazooka, but shorter version with the Scott bottle.
Oh, he shot it out of there?
I go back next door, and he throws it in the sink. The sink explodes. There's noodles and everything all over this. It was shocking. Holy Christ, was it shocking. That was the beginning of the war. And Howie Carlson, he wasn't a big fan of the wall coming down. We had some great chiefs that used to always come over and say hello to us and stuff, but a couple of them, you know, didn't want to bother with us. So when they blew a doorway in on the apparatus floor, I won't mention who, took our soda machine and blocked the doorway so they couldn't come over.
Do they eat together now and do one house watch?
Yeah, one house watch, one kitchen, and the best part is they don't mingle. And the only time you see them together is in the kitchen. That room you saw with the pictures and the scaling ladder.
Yeah,
they don't go in there at all. They
still
go
to this day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of a truck room.
All right.
Speaking of scaling ladder, we had a snake in the firehouse. That I'm not a big fan of snakes. They had them on the second floor in the big tank. And tell you how crazy it got. Christmas parties. Nobody wanted to see Santa. All the kids wanted to go see the snake get fed baby rats or mice and stuff like that. And one day the snake disappears. I go, thank God. I hope somebody ran him over. Well, what happened was on the third floor, we had a pool table that nobody ever used. And this snake's just gone for weeks. Nobody could find him. I was hoping it would never come back. Guys take the plywood off the pool table that haven't been done in years. They go to reach down to get a ball. Where do you think the snake was? He laid out in between the whole pool table. I don't know what he's doing, taking a break or whatever. He ended up dying.
Taking a blow.
Yeah.
Taking a blow.
Oh, speaking of animals, we had a German Shepherd in the house called Ace. But Ace stayed outside. Big black. They got him when he was I don't know. They rescued him off a building. Somewhere he ended up on the roof on a fire escape. They grabbed him, brought him back to the firehouse. And he stayed there for years and years. This dog, there was a butcher shop around the corner. He was so smart. He'd go around and come back with monster bones like this, laid in front of this dumpster. And he laid the bones in the pad where the rig rolled out. The rig rolled out.
Break it up.
So he can eat the bone marrow. He was never in the back room, but he was a lovely, lovely dog. Bobby Urban, when he passed away, took him upstate where he had a place and put him down up there. But he didn't like certain people walk in front of the firehouse. He growled at him.
Ace the Wonder Dog.
And speaking of, I got to tell you one other thing. When I first got to 124, we used to go on some of these outings, right? And my first outing I went to was Angelo Catalano had a house. You sure I'm not rambling?
No, you're good.
Oh, you're good.
I still don't even know which way I'm facing. Which way am I facing you?
You're facing good. You're facing us.
Where am I got to be? This way, that way?
Nope, the other way.
This way?
Yep, you're good.
All right. You want me to stay in this position? Why didn't you tell me? What was my head down in the corner the whole time?
No.
Up to Roscoe, New York. And I'm the new guy in the block, so I know I ain't getting a bed. So I bring a portable blow-up bed with me. And we're right on the lake. I love lakes. I'm a big kayaker. But he had a rowboat there. So I said, anybody want to go on a rowboat? Nah. But during the whole day, I'm doing one of these, blowing up my portable bed, because I know I'm not getting a bed. I'll sleep anywhere. I'll sleep on the roof with the bed. I don't care. So I go out on this rowboat, I'm by myself. Nobody wants to go. Now I look back on it. They had this all planned. They swear they didn't. I'm out on a boat, and all of a sudden, I'm seeing golf balls slamming by the boat. And a group of them, Frankie McVeigh, Mike, who else was out there? Pete McCarthy, group of them are whacking golf balls. But I found out afterward, so I figured they keep missing me. So I figured maybe they had a pool going. Who gets the first golf ball on the boat? I tried to put the boat closer. What a jackass I was doing that. Because now they're like aiming for me, I think, because now I got balls coming in every direction, but nobody's getting them in the boat. But they're coming towards my damn head. So finally, I go back because they were all laughing and stuff. Nobody got a ball on the boat. So about a couple hours later, we've been partying all day, trying to go to bed.
The bed is deflated.
Deflated and put back in the goddamn box.
What the fuck is that?
But you know what the best part of what 124 does? It started with Patty Giblin. He started arranging trips, and to this day, this guy Rob Chapman took it over. They go to baseball games, all different cities every year. They're going to a Mets game. I'm on the fence with this one. They're going down to Tampa, Florida in May. But wherever we went, on these trips. It was just, it was like beyond belief.
Can't stop laughing, right?
We go to Chicago. You ever been to Chicago?
Yes.
We went to 2 games. We went down to the White Sox played in the bad section of Chicago, and the Cubs played on the other side, in the
Wrigley Field.
We go down to Friday night. We go to see the White Sox. We're having the time of our lives. Now we all want to go out and, have a party. And the cops said, get out of this town. There's about 20 of them. What do you mean get out of here? Yeah, they would go uptown if you want to party. So we went uptown. It wasn't much. The next day we go to Cubs Stadium. If you've ever been there, Wrigley, they got the old, I guess I'm going back a few years. They had the ushers that would wipe your seats, wear the hats. And plus we signed up for, they don't have it anymore. They had these apartment buildings across the street, right? And they rent them out on the rooftops. So you could go up there and some of them had bleachers and some of them didn't, where you could sit there. And I think it costs us $100 a guy just to do that end of it. So you go up there, it's all you can eat and drink. But what we didn't know, come the 7th inning, they got to abide by the rules of the field. No more drinks.
No drinking after the 7th inning. Yeah.
The guy's going a bit wacky, but what a time it was in Chicago. We tried to go out to St. Louis one year, and what we always tried to do was get a hospitality room. So at the time, they sent $500 out to the St. Louis Fire Department, and the hotel we're staying in. Monster storms hit St. Louis. We can't go. There's no other flights. We can't go the next day, nothing. We're like, So what did we do? They went out and bought everything, all the beer, all the chips, all food, everything with the $500. We called them up and say, enjoy yourselves. We don't want the money back. We'll go have a party. They sent us back this thing. Hey, thanks a lot. We had a great time. Hospitality room. These trips, though, were just one of the better trips we ever had. We go up to Boston. You guys been to Boston games?
Yep.
Wherever we're going, well, somebody local like that, corn bus all the time. And so we take corn buses up there. We stay over in this hotel, and we go there. And when you're going with a group of guys, we kind of split ourselves off, like 10 sat in this seat and the other 10 sat like close to us. Well, some of the Boston fans could be a little, in your face type. So at one point they started throwing peanuts. I was sitting in the front section. Some of the fans are throwing peanuts at us because we got Yankees all over us. They knew where exactly we were from. And so they started throwing peanuts at us. And now the guys behind us, we all started throwing money towards a couple of guys said, go out and buy every goddamn peanut you can find in this stadium. They came back with boxes of peanuts, boxes. And sure enough, all hell breaks loose. They started throwing more peanuts. So the first section where I was, we turned around and started throwing peanuts at this guy. It looked like a locust right behind us for throwing peanuts. And that ended that, man. I tell you, it was crazy. But they were always with great trips. And that's what keeps all the new guys have been jumping on over these trips.
Yeah, it's good. Keep the tradition going, right?
And we have, like I said, we're having a 124 day. We have a Christmas party. I should have sent you pictures out of Christmas party. We go to the fifth alarm that burned down place O'Neill's. We go back there every year since they rebuilt it.
I was waiting to bring that picture up.
Thank you.
The only one you got O'Neill's. I thought they sent you a couple others.
You sent me 2 of the same ones.
Bob Chapman was laying over between tours. I think he rode on the rig or rode with the chief. He took some fabulous pictures.
I gave the 1075 at that job, bro.
Yeah?
Yep.
We didn't do so good there.
Nah.
You guys got to leave the bar. Come on.
Hey, Ben, you wanted to talk about, we're getting up there. We're about
how long have I been? I'm sorry.
You wanted to talk about 9/11. There was a story you had about 9/11.
All right. Basically, I wasn't supposed to work that day. I was paying back the city a tour, which kind of pissed me off driving in. So it was such a beautiful day, And I said, why couldn't it be raining? I always got into work early. I got in there early, and I find out they're looking for a detail to drive the tiller in 106. I went to chauffeur school. They never taught the guys much about a tiller. Only guys who were in a tiller company were the ones who actually, got to use it. But this guy, Eddie Checchia, came from 6 Truck. He said, Van, I got you covered. He said, I'll take the detail. So anyway, we're outside, running in the swords and all that. And the guy in wife says, man, the North Tower just got hit with a plane. We were like, what are you talking about? So we're all trying to put on the TVs and watch it. And the moment the second tower, when the first tower got hit, remember Fate, the dispatcher? You ever hear of her? Fate?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, we had guys like, I'm trying to think of his name, Alex. We had a bunch of photographer guys, more or less ride with us a lot. And this guy was taking a lot of pictures for us over time. That's how I made Fate through Juan Fuchs.
Yeah, we had him on the show.
I won't care. Do you remember the days, though, when they used to announce the companies by their company, Tonka truck and all that?
Yeah.
They cut all that out. They used my voice once for the turnout. We had a guy who knew how to fix things up. So anytime we got to run, you hear me, Tonka truck, you got to run, get out. On 9/11, Eddie Checchia decides he'll take my detail. So I called Faith up, and she said, don't worry, this is going to be huge. The moment the second plane hit, I called her back. She said, yeah, you're going to go. I immediately got on the phone with my son, who just got out of Proby school that night. They were going on that rotation thing. So he had to go up to a 36 truck way up the other end of Manhattan. Knowing him, though, he didn't listen to me well. So we're going over the bridge. One of the guys had a little Instamatic camera. 146 had a brand new rig, and they got in front of us. And we're going over the Manhattan Bridge, and they're going slow as shit. They're worried about the new rig hitting. So we ended up getting through that, and we're going down Church Street now, the wrong way, and hundreds of people are running past our rig. Oh, here's what I forgot to tell. Jim McDermott, goddamn, I forgot to mention. What a super lieutenant he was. I'm talking to Fate. He's talking to Manhattan Dispatch. He slides the pole. We got to stop at 5 Truck. I'm like, no effing way to stop at 5 Truck. We're going to the scene with Fate. Teleprinter comes over. They wanted to meet other companies there at 5 Truck. So I'm yelling at him. We picked up a captain, another guy, me and Steve Harrigan riding on the rear of the tower ladder on each side. And as we're going down Church Street, the whole rig goes bam, 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 bam. Because when we got to 5 Truck, we didn't park it in the rig. We was sitting there, and we started to see the smoke change, and we hear the word collapse, so we take off. As we're going down Church, the whole rig goes like that. Who do you think was in front of us? The mayor, Vanessa, the whole assembly line.
Wow.
Crossing across. We just missed them by inches. We ended up being a couple of blocks away. We had abandoned the rig. We got hit with that blast. I don't know if you've ever got affected with that blast. It almost drove us off the rig. So we had to walk a couple of blocks. We ended up at 10 Truck. And I literally ran down the block in front of the guys, which I shouldn't have left them that fast. And I turned the corner, and there's a guy smoldering. People putting him out with all this, soot and everything was on the ground. He had a burnt suitcase handle in his hand, horribly burnt. And I said, man, I'm figuring he got burned from jumping out of tide. I couldn't figure out when. So we go down Trinity Street to Greenwich, and we're walking down, and we get to the back of 10 Truck, and people are screaming, coming out the back of 10 Truck. They left the bay door open, and they got blasted. And one guy comes out with a suitcase with handcuffs on him, a Chinaman, and he's screaming and screaming, and he broke his hip or whatever. So as all this is going on, I see a body. You don't mind me talking about it? You got time?
Yeah.
All right. A body falls in front of me. And maybe 20 feet in front of me. I go, what the hell? I'm thinking a body fell out of the tower, the North Tower, or it's the South Tower that came down. Turns out he was a construction worker. He was pointing bricks on the building on the side of 10 Truck. He was up on the scaffolding. And when the tower came down, he just went like this, and then he decided to climb down. He only fell like 10 feet, but he split his head open. So a cop comes over, and the two of us pick him up, and we go into the corner, and that's where the Deutsche Bank was. Oh, I'm sorry. This is just before the North Tower comes down. We're all standing right on that corner in 10 Truck, and the North Tower comes down. You talk about assholes and elbows trying to get out of there. So we take this guy. We literally got bone through a window that wasn't there because it fell from the south tower collapsing, and the ceilings are coming down again. I tell you, I was never petrified as that. I managed to get out the window. I lost the cop. I lost the guy we were with. I don't know where the hell they went. Just to climb out of the window and get on the street. I had to pack. I don't know if you were there then. I couldn't put my mask to my face. I had it on the bypass. As fast as you did this, it was filling up with all that shit. The next thing you know, 2 cops turned out. I didn't know who they were. They dragged me into this building on the corner of Greenwich, and I sat against the wall. And next thing I know, 3 cops are like this, holding the front door, and they're going like that. That's how much force they were hitting.
Wow.
It was beyond. So now my son, who I talked to earlier, I didn't know at the time he drove in there, and basically he was told by a battalion chief or battalion or deputy. He was with Tommy Hughes. They drove in that he saw 124 heading towards the North Tower. They were all killed. Why would you say that to anybody? But you know the spot that bothered me most? Pete Gansey. 2 weeks before 9/11, I went to a fireman's convention down in New Orleans. And I went into the convention center and I found out Pete was there. And I go there and he's standing against this engine. This is before 9/11. The city was getting a donation from some company that's for a brand new engine. So he was like standing on the rig. You would think he was a Hollywood actor, the amount of people that surrounded, flash bulbs going off. And I go walking up to him. I go, look at you yelling. He goes, you got to be kidding me. He said, I had no idea it would be like this. So he said, what are you doing for lunch? And I said, what do you want to do? He said, let's get out of here. He took off all of his gold. We go down to Bourbon Street. You ever have a hurricane? The drink called a hurricane?
Oh, yeah, man. I'm not going to.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. So 2 of us sit there. I don't mean to drift, but I got to tell you this. It was pretty sad. When we drink 2 of these hurricanes. One would put you in the grave. I don't know why we had 2. We go back there, and Pete had to do this afternoon service, just standing there. I'm looking at him. I was like, oh, my God. So I didn't see him that night. And then the next day I go back and I go over to him. What do you want to do for lunch? He said, get the hell away from me. He goes, I don't know why they call this drink a hurricane. They should call it a tornado. He said, my head is still spinning. And 2 weeks later, he was killed.
Wow.
The ironically of the whole thing, me, Richie Hoppin, it was a group of guys from 111, a few of us from 124, and somebody else. Everybody said how we found them over by the what they call the Winter Gardens. I don't know, it's a big glass building on the west side. On the west side.
I heard of it.
Pete survived the first, collapse. Steve was the other. There's another guy. I didn't know Steve. He was his aide. He saved Steve's life by telling him, hey, go around the corner and pick up a couple of more trucks. And just by Steve walking away from him, that's when,
Oh, I remember the Winter Garden. That was that glass atrium.
Right. But what are the odds of guys from companies that Pete worked in? There was a Spanish lieutenant in 271. He saw the patent leather shoes. And that's when we all started digging. And sure enough, when I saw the back of the coat with Gansey, I tell you, everybody was pretty emotional. But, what a day. So anyway, I finally ran into my son later on. I don't know what time. It was late that night. He came up in my volunteer fire department out of nowhere. They called all the volleys in. I didn't know anybody got called. I saw guys from Quorum Fire Department there, and the guys from Tommy Hughes said, hey, your son's been a wreck all day. You heard you guys were killed. We had a pretty emotional reunion, horrible times.
Yeah,
Changed the whole job. All the amount of officers and firemen.
Just the experience that we lost that day. It's amazing.
I didn't want to end it on a sad note. I really didn't.
No, that's all right. I mean, listen, this is what most of the careers ended at that point.
Well,
I just wish I could have gave you more names.
More than that? What?
No, I mean, guys, I know I miss so many guys in my company.
That's all right. They'll understand.
You got any time? Do I have time?
Yeah, throw a couple more names out.
Why not? Well, here, I just want to tell you that the officers. This got sent to me today, guys. I said, who passed through the door? I'm going to go real quick. Bob Hannon, Tom Cleary. These are all bosses. Kevin Bennett, Terry Freddo, Patty Waters, John Fortunato, Jim McDermott, Jim McDonald, Rich Lane, Lieutenant Sully, John Albanese, Chris Isaac. Chris Isaac, you know what's great about when you see the fireman that you work with his father and the sons come back?
Yeah.
Like Jimmy Connolly. His father died in the line of duty. He became a captain of 124. Joe Backey was in the engine. He became a captain of 124. It's pretty interesting. Rob Rochelle, Dan Taylor, Mike LaPasso, Chris Durio. Chris Durio, 12 years. 12 years he spent in 124. Didn't become a captain. He could have become a captain. He loved us so much he stayed with us. Can't beat guys like that. And Chris O'Haga, Pete Montecaro, what else? Dan Smith. Oh, he's a new guy. Dave Cohen. And captains, John Connolly, Joe Backey, Brian Johnson, Scott Mooney's the present one. I wish I had the picture of all the new guys together. I think I sent you one. I don't know if you caught it.
Post them up there. Let's do some.
Man, you sent us like 24 pictures.
Yeah.
We have quite a few group shots. I mean, I have this one right here.
Yeah, those were basically the senior guys that they all were. Is Jimmy Ellison, Bobby Tafford, Jimmy Reinhardt, Joe Meyer. Great.
Schweiger, man.
Schweiger. Yeah, Schweiger's in there.
Did you want the photo, you mean, of the newer guys?
What's that?
Yeah,
Did you want the photos of the newer guys? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, I think I sent you a couple over.
Yeah,
right?
hold on. I have that.
Here's the tree line of duty of fellas. Connolly,
All right.
Henry Mitchell.
You talking about these guys right here?
There's another one, too.
I have these guys right here.
Georgie Walker. There's another guy I missed. Georgie Walker was working that day. Brian Kelly, me, Johnny Finn, Jim McDermott. Jim McDermott was the boss. He saved all of our lives, Jim McDermott, believe it or not. If the guys had listened to me, say, come on, we're going straight to the scene, we probably would have got there when the South Tower came down, you know.
Yeah.
And we're all grateful. He comes to all of our...
Now here, just change gears a little bit.
There's Van Dorn, Van Dorn, the 4th and 5th. Keep the name going.
Look at that.
Hey,
that young fella.
Trulio. You ever hear my Trulio? You got to go see 132's Firehouse. What he does in the front of that, I don't have a picture of it. What he does to their firehouse, their Christmas party, you feel like you're in a winter wonderland. Unbelievable. He decorates it for Halloween. You know, they don't leave it there so long because probably the neighborhood may get out of it. But the guy is a landscape
Hard to make that one out.
Phenomenal.
God, what were those old pictures?
Which ones?
124 was a bucket.
Oh, those were from another show.
All right.
Oh, go back to this one. Come here. I want to show you a fast story. Go back up. Can you go back up?
Sure.
I want to show you this thing with the flag and the pole. Where'd it go? Keep going. One more up. That one.
Oh, yeah.
This was taken between the spear, you know, between the two buildings.
Yeah.
I see these two cops coming up with this flag, which we found out later on. They got out of a hotel. Somebody yells out, get a ladder. There's all rubble all around. Somebody finds a straight portable ladder. It's a roof ladder. If you look close, there's two hooks.
Yeah, you can see the hooks on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I take my butt. I go right up the ladder. And these two cops come up with the flag. Hey, fireman, our flag, we're mounting it. Get the hell down. I had no problem with that. But what was interesting, we had guys from other fire departments were there. There's some construction workers. So I went over here. That's me on the side holding the ladder. I was trying to find out for the life of me who was this battalion chief on the right. I couldn't make out his name. But how this picture came about, Johnny Finn, who lives in Staten Island, walks into a drugstore and sees this picture, a big picture of it in the store. I said, you got to be kidding me. So he ended up, I found out, you know, who it was. It ended up in the PBA calendar for that month of September. And my son, Mark, by the way, my son, Mark, was a fireman in Quorum with us, too. He was going to come on a job, but he got a job with a big computer company, and
he's making a big bucks.
He missed it.
And this is just, I know you wanted to share this one, so I'll bring it up for you.
That was a great night with Brian and his three brothers. I never saw that before, that all three of his brothers could ride his last tour before he got promoted.
Who was that?
Great guy.
Who was that, Van?
Brian, I forget his brother's names. One was from Rescue One. One was from an engine in Queens. I think the other guy was from an engine in Oh, what the hell? No, it's from a truck company somewhere in Queens.
That's cool, man.
Aaron?
That's awesome.
Dayron, Christ's sakes. I didn't say his last name. I apologize.
You're good.
He was from 237, right?
His father was a
Kids that look like
great
320.
chauffeur down at 112.
Yeah, he's been there a long time. I remember he was a
230.
Sorry, Brian. I'm sorry. Slipped my head. I knew his father really well. He was a chauffeur down in 112. Anyway.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. You guys are good. You guys didn't even have a break. You didn't do a toast or nothing. Come on.
I've been drinking the whole time, fella.
Man, it's
Why didn't you take me? Oh,
Catch up. Get another hurricane. Will you? That's what men do.
Wait a minute.
There you go.
You don't have this. I don't even know how to turn it.
Tonka truck. I see it.
This is the Tonka mug. I mentioned this to you.
You'll be getting one of these next. So
Yes.
And you could use the Tonka one for what, Coobs?
pencil holder.
Hey,
I got to put a few of these in there.
I really hope I didn't ramble on you guys.
Oh, no.
it's
I can't let you go. You got one more thing to do.
You got one more story. You got to do
One more thing.
One more.
Old school tip of the day.
Old school tip of the day. Get ahead, guys.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. It's time for the old school tip of the day.
My tip to you guys who are still active and still
Take it away.
doing the right thing, grab your senior men and get as much knowledge out of them as you possibly can. They're filled with information you can't believe. And if you never experienced going into a job with one of them, make it your point. You have to do that in your career. You have to go with these guys who've been there and that. And that would keep so much confidence in yourself, because you're going to get in some really hairy-ass situations. And the one thing you got to do is try not to panic. You see some guys really panic, and there's no reason for it. But you're going to learn. I was very fortunate in my whole career that I got to work with some of the most – I'm glad I got on when I did, because I was around guys who've been there and back and watched they all from the war years. Unfortunately, you new guys may not be able to work with those individuals, but take the senior man in your house and get as much knowledge out of him as you can, and just make sure you don't let your bosses down. Do the right thing. You can never go wrong by doing the right thing in the firehouse, and have the time of your lives, because you're in the greatest job you could ever imagine. And God bless all of you. It's been a pleasure. I'm so proud I got to live my dream from a kid, and had the most wonderful experience. I'm still having a great time. I'm coming out. Oh, I did one other thing. John Soka, your book's coming. I'm gonna push your book on you.
It's a shameless plug.
Paul hashtag, and there's his other book. But really, fellas, do the best you can, and don't ever let anybody down. That's the main thing. And do the right thing.
Do the right thing, Kubi.
I try to do the right thing.
You guys are hey, I can't thank you guys enough. This is
I did the right thing by reaching out to Van to get him on the show.
I still don't know how the hell I'm looking at you, to be honest. But, yeah, I'm gonna toast you guys being
salute.
I'm
glad we finally got you on, kid.
Hey, when the hell were you drinking? I didn't see any of you pick up a drink.
We were dabbling.
Well, one of these days we got to go out together. How's that?
I like it.
Right, come by hey, if you're not doing anything next Wednesday, one fast thing. That borough call back in '77, your dad, I found out, took the pictures of 124. Yes. They melted the windows and everything like that.
My dad did take those pictures. Yep.
140?
He was in 291, but he owned a camera store on Knickerbocker Avenue.
There you go. See, I got the last plug in for your dad.
Thank you, brother.
Van, you know Mike Barone?
Mike who?
Mike Barone, by chance?
Yes.
Okay, good. We're gonna have a part 2, a part 3. We're gonna get you going. Maybe a part 4.
We'll have you back.
There's a relationship there.
It's been a pleasure, fellas. I'm glad I finally called.
I can listen to your stories all night, Van.
I got a lot more.
All right, maybe we'll have a call to the bullpen. We'll have you on for part 2.
Shit!
What?
Oh, another one.
I'm so sorry. Oh man, the end of my career. You got time?
Go ahead.
Oh Christ, how can I forget? Chief Tom Galvin. My God, I spent my last year with real quick. There he is. Yes, there's a man. I'm telling you, I'm not saying this because I'm partial, because I drove him for a year. Probably drove him crazy. You've never met anybody that was more dedicated to the job. He cares so much about the guys. I found a lot about the inner workings of the fire department. This man, I'm telling you, was extraordinary. I get a call from Chief Kilduff's aide. Hey, you want to drive the Brooklyn Borough Command? I said, I hardly drove battalion chiefs, let alone a Brooklyn Borough Command. What are you, out of your mind? So finally, Ed Kilduff called me up and he says, listen, he lives out by you. You got like 18 hours overtime. You can't leave the job. And he says, come in for the interview. I said, interview? That ain't happening. And he was working out Artillery Street. So I went, there he is. I walk in, he's got his legs up on the desk. He's got the crew cut. He looked like a Marine DI. Everything was starting off fine. And then he started, I think he was kind of breaking my balls in a way. And I got to the point that, hey, Chief, really, I can't come to Artillery Street. It's a horrible place to get to anyway. You know,
it's tough to get there, yeah.
He said, I'm coming from Cornwall now. This ain't going to happen. He goes, so I get up to go up. I said, I really think you should sit down. It's going to be fine. Turns out I picked them up in the one of my volley firehouses. I met him right in Corn. The beauty of it, I was on the clock the moment I got in the goddamn car.
Oh, look at you.
You know, can't beat that. I had a wonderful experience with him. I got to wear, I was like a Mexican with the band of radios on me. I came out of that garage like a Batmobile. I got
like a Batmobile.
all the big fires with him. I had the opportunity to transmit transmit the third alarm. What a wonderful, wonderful experience I had with him. Then he got promoted. He became a staff chief. He was working out of headquarters and out of Fort Totten. I can't say enough about it. I'll tell you how good he was. I went to, remember the Brooklyn Bridge Party by 118?
Yeah, until somebody fucked it up. Yeah.
Guys jumping in the river.
Yeah.
I got blown out of my socks one night, and he had to drive. He had to drive me home. So I got Jimmy Gels in the car with his wife and another lieutenant from 106. We're going down to BQE, and another chief passes us, and he goes, "Fam, watch this." I go, "What?" He goes, "Just watch." Sure enough, his phone rings. It's Chief Casano. I think he was chief of operations. He goes, "Where are you now?" He goes, "I'm on the BQE." He goes, "You driving your car?" He goes, "Yeah." "Why?" He goes, "My aide had a few." You know, he was like, "This is what goes on." He goes, "What a rat bastard! Here's his other chief, ratting him out to another chief. What the hell he is?" But I tell you, he got invited to all the party. He took such good care of me and made my pension possible, really. But here's the guy. I really wish he could have been a chief of the department one day.
We had him on the show. He was great.
I know. I listened to it. Is that amazing stories?
He was great. Everybody said the same thing about him. The guy worked so hard for this.
I'm at his house on every birthday, which is coming up this month. I go to his house Christmas time. Me, Dave Steinhauer, and Bob Rowley, his other two aides when I left. We meet up 2-3 times every year, have lunch together.
That's
wonderful. Great. I can't say enough about this. And he's been around. You know his story.
Hey, man, that was a good way to get out of the job, something like that, where you wouldn't think you would enjoy it as much as you did, right?
And, they have what's called citywide tours where certain chiefs have been hanging out.
Right,
too long. They had to come out. And I was one of the senior guys in the headquarters at the time for AIDS. So I was giving some of these young guys who say they're getting out, here, take my tour, stuff like that. But I got to drive Ed Kilduff and Steve Rasswilder.
Oh my God! Awesome guys,
great guys.
Ed, I like to call him Ed.
That's why my career was so lucky. I was surrounded with absolute dynamite people. You can't.
Yeah, Louis doesn't know him as Chief Kilduff. He calls him Ed.
Ed.
Great guy. Oh, what a chief he was, huh?
Oh my God.
Tommy Richardson is another super guy. What a loss he was when he left.
Yeah. No doubt.
I didn't want to get into what happened with Joe Jordan. You guys all know.
We won't get in trouble for that.
Yeah. But what a wonderful guy he is. And all of them. I had the opportunity of being around some really fantastic people. And guys from 124, I can't say enough about. Whoever goes there, they're going to live their dream. Like I
got a great career there, fella.
I did. I'm so happy I did.
We appreciate it.
I feel embarrassed not mentioning half of these names,
You mentioned a lot.
They're going to call me, what the fuck?
We're going to have to get the hook on them, Coobs.
Yeah, before we start mentioning more
names. Get the hook.
All right.
What keeps things going? You guys, keeping letting everybody have their dreams come true on your show.
I appreciate that.
That's important. It really is.
Speaking of which, on Monday we have the captain of Rescue 5, right, Roof?
Vomero.
Vomero.
Captain Russell Vomero.
Yes.
But,
Good guys coming up. Talk to him. Listen, I ran into his son.
I'll get a hold of him. I'll get a hold of him.
All right, get on him. All right, guys.
Hey, thank you so much, fellas.
Thank you, Van. Great show, brother.
All you guys out there, be safe.
Any other shout outs, Ruffy?
No, that's it.
Nothing.
Thank you for coming on, Van. I'm glad we finally got you
Shout
on.
out to my beautiful bride, Janet, my daughter, Jenny, and my son, Mark, who I got a great family. You got to see it. You got to see it. There's 15 of us. I've been married 46 years. I got
and
never had a fight.
I got 7 grandkids. They're all doing practice.
46 years. It feels like 5 minutes, right?
Right.
Underwater.
I'm not even hot box. I'm not even hot box. He was the cheerleader I was playing. That's history.
All right, fellas. We'll see you guys on Monday night. Thanks for coming on, Van.
All the best.
Thank you, Van.
Until Monday, stay low and go.
Hey, if you're in town, Lily Flanagan's next Wednesday, noontime.
Next Wednesday, Lily Flanagan's.
Come see you at the big one, everybody.
Won't cost you a dime because I put in a plug for them. Oh, it's going to be free.
All right, good.
Better be free.
I like free. Free it's for me. All right, guys.
All right, guys. I'm going to change it up a little bit. Saddle up. Sounds like work, guys. Have a good
Oh, look at you. You got a new one.
The big buff.
Hey, you know, it works.
We'll see you Monday night.
All right, guys. Good night.
Good guy.